Hey guys, my name is Kaushik. I'm from YouTube channel called LetCode with Kaushik. Welcome to a crash course on Selenium 3.0. In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to install the JDK, and also we are going to learn how to install the Eclipse, that is our IDE, and also we are going to learn how to install few of the dependencies that are required to execute our test. So as you know, we are going to learn the Selenium 3.0. So of course we need the Selenium 3.0 dependency, and after that we need the test_ng. Test_ng is basically used to run our test with the XML file, and it has a lot of features. We'll talk about it in our further videos. This video is just for the installation, and like what we're going to do, I'm just going to give you a brief. From the next video, we're going to learn how to interact with the HTML basic elements like the input box, or maybe like a drop down and alerts, window handling frame, all those stuff. So what are the basic things we need to learn Selenium? We are going to focus on that. And of course, with the Lambda test platform, which is really helpful to run our test in multiple environment, multiple systems, multiple browser configurations. We are going to learn all those, and trust me, it's going to be very simple and easy to learn. So let's get started with the installation process. So first thing first, we need the JDK, Java Development Kit. And of course, we are going to use the version 11. If we have 8 or above, then it is fine. You can skip this part and we can focus on the Eclipse installation. But for those who are very new and want to get started, I think you should follow the steps. So first of all, go to Google and type JDK download. You'll end up with the first link, that is from oracle.com. Go to that link, and by default it will show you the Java 17, but we are going to use the 11. At least I'm going to use the 11. Anything above or 8 is fine. So if you scroll down here, you can see like two sections. One is Java 8 and the 11. I'm going to click on this Java 11. And if you come here, you can see like Linux, Mac, Solaris, and Windows based on your operating system. In my case, it's a Windows 64-bit machine. So I'm going to click on the Windows. And here you can see like we have a 64 installer. I'm just going to click on that. And once we click on that, we have to click on this required thing, and we'll click on this download exe file. That should download the exe file. But make sure before downloading, you should have the Oracle account. So you can just go to view account, and or else it will prompt you to create an account. Just create it, do the email verification and sign in, and then you will be able to download this one. Once downloaded, just click on this file, downloaded file, and you have to just follow the on-screen procedure. It's very simple, but of course I will show you. Okay, so here you have to click on the next, and it will say that I'm going to install in this particular path, and that is fine. Now next, click on the next button, and it should do some installation. Let's wait for that. And that's it. Installation is completed. If you want to read about the documentation, you can click on the next step, or else you can just click on the close. That's it. To make confirm that installation is successful, just go to your Windows R and type cmd, that is command prompt. And here we have to say like java-version. That should bring up this Java version that is installed on your machine. If it's not installed, then probably something error with the installation, or maybe the path. By default, JDK 11 set the path. Just in case if you're using older anything other than like Windows 10, probably you have to set the path. So I'm going to show you that as well. So first of all, go to your Windows Explorer and go to this PC or my computer, and go to your C drive, and then go to the program files for 64-bit. If you have 32-bit, you have to go within the program files 86. In my case, it's a 64. I will go to this program files, and then you can see like Java, and then if you go to the JDK folder, and here we have the bin, right? So let's go to the bin and copy the path. Okay, and then again right click on your PC and go to properties, or not this one. So go to your PC and right click on properties, and here we'll see something like advanced system settings. Click on that and go to the environment variables. Here we have to set the Java home, and here you can select already I have this path, so that is fine. In case if you don't have, you have to give this key, and this is your value. Here you should not include the bin. Okay, so it should be without bin. And if you go down here, we have the path. If you click on this edit, here you have to add the JDK along with the bin path. Okay, so remember two things. One is environment variable as a system variable where you have to include the bin, and here we have the user variable where you should not include the bin. Okay, that's it, very simple. But I think it is not required because when we install the JDK 11, by default it will set the path. Okay, so first thing first, the installation of JDK is, that's it, very simple. Now we need the IDE. IDE is basically used to write code, and it will give us some auto suggestions, and it will have a lot of shortcuts that will really make our life easy. Of course, you can use the Intel IJ or maybe VS Code, but I'm going to use the Eclipse because of course it's open source and it is widely used, at least in the test automation industry. Okay, so go to your Google and search for Eclipse download and click on the first link. And here you can see like we have this download 86 and 64. I'm going to click on that. It might take little time based on your internet speed, so be patient about that. And again, you have to click on this download button, and that will download a exe file. Just wait until it gets downloaded. Once it is downloaded, just click on the file, and we have the install Eclipse installer. Now we are going to download the actual Eclipse IDE. So let's see how to do that. So here we have a lot of Eclipse versions. For the automation, the first one is very recommended. So it says like Eclipse IDE for Java developers, where it will have a inbuilt Maven integration. So we don't have to install the Maven separately, and we have to install. We'll talk about the Maven in a bit. Let's go and do the installation. So I'm going to click on the first one, and it will say like, do you want to create a start menu and also a desktop shortcut, and it has the default path. I'm going to leave it as it is, and then I'm going to click on the install button. Okay, the installation is done. You can close it, or you can click on the launch and you can open it, but I'm just going to close it this as of now. And it says like, do you want to launch it? No thanks. And here we have the shortcut. This is what we are going to use from the upcoming videos and also this video. So let's double click on that and let's open the IDE, and it is the latest version of 2021 and -12. This is basically year, and this is the month, which is very latest. Once we open the Eclipse, here it will say like workspace. So workspace is basically like, it's a kind of like collections of project where we can have like Eclipse based setup as well, which is not required in our case, but it is good to have a workspace. And I'm going to click on this, use this as a default, so that next time it won't ask me like which workspace I have to open. In case if you have multiple workspace, then this will become handy, or else you can just click on this and click on launch. And here it says like the path is not available there, which is fine. I'm going to maybe change workspace now. So let's go to the browse, and here I'm going to select a new folder. I'm going to click on the new folder. I'm going to say like workspace, and I will select the folder and I'll click on this launch now. That's it. We are fine as of now with the Eclipse editor, but of course we have to create a Maven project and we have to install the dependency. We'll see that in a moment. So first, when we launch the Eclipse editor, we can see that it has some welcome page. We are going to close that, and then go to the file and go to the new and click on this project, and we are going to use the Maven project. So what is Maven? Maven is basically a build tool that is used to like maintain all the dependencies. So what is dependencies? If you take any simple Java project, if you want to access any third-party library, let's say that Apache POI or Selenium or TestNG, you have to go to the website and you have to download the jar file, and you have to attach the reference jar file, which will become tedious for a large project. Okay, so Maven makes it very simpler. We can add the dependencies, and it will go to the internet, the online cloud storage, and it will download all the jar file that is required for the project. That's very simple. And apart from that, of course, Maven have a lot of features like we can build the trigger, we can run based on the command prompt, which is going to be very easy. Probably we will talk about more in Maven in upcoming videos. As of now, I'm just going to create a simple project. So go to the Maven and click on this Maven project and click on next. And here we are going to create a simple project, and then we are going to click on this next button. And here we have to give the group ID, which is nothing but like your folder name, and artifact is basically your project name. So group ID, I'm going to make it like, let's say that it's going to be my Selenium demo. And artifact ID, I'm going to give it like lambda demo. It can be anything, doesn't really matter, but good to have the project name and the artifact ID. Okay, now click on the finish. It will take a few seconds based on your internet speed, so it will download all the Maven dependencies that are required. And once the project is created successfully, if you open this, here you can see the project structure, like we'll get 𝐻𝐸 main Java resource, 𝐻𝐸 test Java resource, and the pom.xml. This pom.xml stands for project object module, which is very important in terms of uh, Maven project. So once you double click on that, by default you will see this overview, which will have like if you want to add some dependencies, you can do that, but we'll add it manually. So go to the pom.xml, this last section, and here we are going to add few of the dependencies. So I'm going to increase the font size by clicking on Control plus, and here we need two dependencies. One is the Selenium, because of course we are going to learn the Selenium, and other than that we are going to execute with the help of test-ng. So for that we need the test-ng dependencies as well. Now let's see how to get the dependencies. It's very simple. Just go to Google and type for Maven dependencies and click on the first link, and sorry, not this one. So here you have to go to this mavenrepository.com, click on that, and here we are going to search. So I'm going to search for like Selenium 3. So you have to go to the second one, Selenium Java. Of course we are going to use that. And here you can see the latest version is 4.1.12, I mean 4.1.2, but of course we are going to focus on the Selenium 3. So if you scroll down, you can see like 3.141.59, which is the last version of Selenium 3, and we are going to use this. Okay, and here we can see like we have Maven. We are going to copy that, click to copy, and then go to your pom.xml. Here first of all we'll add the tag called dependencies, and within the dependencies we are going to add the copied dependency, and here of course it should be closing with /project, and that's it. Once we save the file, it will go to the cloud and it will download the required Java file, I mean the Selenium jar file. So if you click on this Maven dependencies, here you can select what are the Selenium related jar files we have to download. It will be auto downloaded. In case if you don't have the project as a Maven, then in the Java project you have to do this manually. So Maven makes more sense here. Now first dependency is done. Now we are going to add the test-ng dependencies again. So let's go to the same repository, and here I'm going to search for test-ng and go to the first one. And here we have a lot of versions. I'm going to use my 6.14.12, I mean 6.4.12, which is very stable version. So I'm going to click on the dependency, and here I'm going to add this, and I will click on Ctrl S to save the file. That should download the dependencies. In my case it is really fast because already I have the dependencies in my local M2 folder, but in your case it might be little slow, so make sure the downloads gets completed. You can see the status in the progress bar. Okay, that's it. We are done with the Selenium dependencies as well as the test-ng dependencies. But dependency of test-ng is not alone enough. We have to add the plugin as well. So what is plugin? Plugin is basically like if you want to, like here we'll create a file and we want to convert the file into test-ng. So do all the UI based things, we have to install the plugin. Let's see how to do that. So go to the help and click on this Eclipse marketplace. There are multiple ways to do this. I'm going to follow the easiest one, and here we have to type like test-ng and click on enter, and here you can select test-ng for Eclipse. So we need this plugin. Okay, now let's click on this install, and it shows two options. One is the test-ng and another one is the Maven integration. Maven integration is optional, but we'll leave it as it is. Now let's click on the confirm button, and here we have to accept the term and condition. So I will just click on accept and I'll click on the finish, and here you can see like the progress bar, it's installing the plugin. Okay, so plugin is basically used to do all the UI actions within the Eclipse editor, and a dependency is actual code where we can use the test-ng library. And here we have a warning like if you want to install, of course we want to install, so we'll click on this install anyway. And once the installation done, we have to do the restart, so click on this restart now. And congratulations, we have done the installation very successfully. Let me give you a quick recap. So first we have to install the JDK. Any version 8 and above is fine. In my case, I'm using the JDK 11. And after that, we have to use the Eclipse IDE. If you have IntelliJ or any other, that is fine. But to follow along with my tutorial, I will recommend you to install the Eclipse. And after that, we have to add the dependency of Selenium testng. And then followed by, we have to install the testng plugin as well. So that's it for this video. I hope you have learned the process, how to do the installation and how to set up the things. We'll see in the next video how to interact with multiple elements with the help of Selenium. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one very soon. If you have any queries, please feel free to ask in the comment section. I'll be happy to reply. In this tutorial, we are going to learn few concepts in Selenium. First, we'll start with what is Selenium, and then followed by what is the use of driver like Chrome driver, Microsoft Edge driver or the 𝐤𝐸 driver. And then followed by we learn the types of locator that is used to interact with the different types of element. And then followed by we'll see a use case scenario where we are going to interact with the different types of input fields, and also we are going to learn how to interact with buttons. Let's start with what is Selenium. Selenium can automate browser. That's it, very simple. Selenium is there for more than a decade and it is one of the most leading framework in test automation. And of course, Selenium supports most of the language binding like Java, JavaScript, Ruby, Perl, whatever the language you say, the popular language, definitely Selenium has these supports. Today we are going to learn the Selenium with Java, and already we discussed how to do the installation, how to create the Maven project in our previous video. So this video is continuation to that. We'll start with the basic coding like how to launch the browser, and we are going to write code for that. So let's bring our IDE, that is Eclipse. In our previous video, we learned like how to add the Selenium dependency as well as in the testng dependency. If you noticed here in the testng dependency, we have something called scope. Let's understand what is a scope. So here, when I say scope test, that means by default, I can write only my test cases or test scripts within the SRC test. But sometimes we might write in the SRC Java as well, the main Java, or maybe the test as well, right? So if I have scope with test, that means I'm restricting my testng to work within the test folder alone. But I don't want to do that. Probably sometimes I might write in SRC main Java or maybe in the SRC test Java. So to have the access in all my folders, I'm going to remove this scope. Just remove the scope and then save the file, and that's it. You are pretty much done. Now let's write some code. So within the SRC test Java, I'm going to create a package first. Let's say that it's going to be my demo, something like lambda demo. And within that, I'm going to create a class. And I'm going to name it simple as like launch browser. And of course, we are going to use the testng. So I'm going to skip the main method here. So let's create a function first. And I'm going to annotate this function with the help of testng, that is @test. That means my test is now ready to execute. Just to make sure everything works fine, I'm just going to give a sysout here. And I'm going to say like hello world. Let's try to execute this. So it's a single file, so I don't have to convert into XML file, but it is recommended. We will see that in a moment. Now, just for the sake of checking whether it's working fine or not, I'm going to right click and I'm going to click on run as testng test. Let's see the output. And sometimes it might ask you to allow the access for the first time. Just give the access, that's fine. And if I go to my console, here you can select we have executed the first test successfully, and here you can select this is my sysout statement, and passed is basically the test name, that is the function name. So we can confirm that our testng is working and all the other dependencies should also work fine. We'll test that in a moment. Now coming back to our topic, so we learned what is Selenium. Very simple definition, but trust me, that is enough. Now we are going to learn what is driver. So Selenium directly cannot interact with the browser. Selenium needs a support to interact with the browser. For example, let's take Chrome. We know that Chrome is from Google team, right? So Google team already have a driver file which is known as Chrome driver that is used to communicate between our Selenium code, that is the Java code, and the browser. Let's see how to download the Chrome driver first. So I'm going to Google like Chrome driver download, and let's click on the first link. And here you can see like we have a lot of versions, right? The version that we are going to download and the browser that is installed in our local machine should be exactly same. So let's go and check that first. In my case, it's 98. So based on your browser, you have to download the exact matching driver file. So we'll click on this one. And here we can see like we have for Mac, Win32 and Linux. I'm going to click on the Win32 and let's extract this in our desktop. We cannot directly extract to the Eclipse, so I'm going to extract this to my desktop first, and from the desktop I'm going to place it in my Eclipse. So within the Eclipse I'm going to create a folder first just to maintain, because in future we might going to run in Chrome, Firefox or Edge, right? So we have to download all the other drivers, but thanks to Lambda test we don't have to download all the drivers. We can run our test in the cloud environment. We'll see that in a moment. So first of all, I'm going to copy my Chrome driver from my desktop and I'm going to paste it in my Eclipse within the driver folder. That's it. We are pretty much done. Now I'm going to remove this isout statement, and here I'm going to say system.set property, and within the property I have to give key and the value. So here the WebDriver, that is the protocol, and I'm going to say like I'm going to use the Chrome and this is my driver, and then followed by I have to give the path. Just to keep it simple, I'm going to use the // that means it will go to our current project, and from there I'm going to say that it is in my drivers folder, and then followed by the file name, and lastly of course the semicolon. We know that it's a Java, right? That's it. We are pretty much done with our first step. What is this? Basically we should tell our Selenium code that, hey, I have a browser driver and I want you to use this. So that's why we are using like system.set property with this protocol, and then followed by the location of the driver. Now here I'm going to say like WebDriver driver equal to new Chrome driver. So what is WebDriver? In Selenium, WebDriver is an interface where Chrome driver is the class which implements the WebDriver. If you want to see the source code, you can just right click and you can give like open declaration. So here you can select, we have the Chrome driver, which is constructor. If you go up here, you can see like it's a class which extends the remote WebDriver. We are going to use the remote WebDriver in a while because we have to run our code in the cloud environment. And if you see, it implements the location context and web storage, and then followed by the network connection. And then if you go within the remote WebDriver, you can see that it's basically implements the WebDriver. So it's basically the hierarchy of Selenium. Remote WebDriver is the supermost class in Selenium, and WebDriver is the implemented interface. We'll see that maybe in some another video about the entire hierarchy. So first thing first, we are going to launch the website. So for that, I'm going to use a Lambda test, this like lambdatest.com. Okay, so I'm going to copy the URL, and here I'm going to say like driver.get, and here I'm going to pass the URL. And just to make sure I'm in the correct website, I'm going to print the title. So here I'm going to say like driver.get title. That will return me as a string, so I can store that like here string title, and then I'm going to sysout. And lastly, we want to close our browser, so I will say like driver.quit. It will be really fast, just be watchful. So I'm going to execute this one more time. So right click, run as test-ng test. And unfortunately, we got a failure, which is good sign of learning. Let's see the console. So here you can see like illegal state exception. Illegal state exception means the path we have set might be wrong, or the key that I have set might be wrong. Let's see. So here it says like /drivers and then followed by Chrome driver. And here you can see I have done a spelling mistake. So based on the exception, you should learn. Don't get panic when we see the exception. It's a good sign to start learning. I'm going to minimize this and let's go and fix it. So here I have missed the E as a spell. Let's go and run this one more time. Hopefully it should run this time. And perfect, we got the browser red sign. That means of course our browser is getting launched here, and you can see the same in the UI. That's it. Pretty much done with our first learning, that is how to launch the website or launch the web browser and load the URL, and then followed by how to print the title. So here you can see like how we are getting in the console like most powerful cross-browser testing tool online, that is Lambda test. Right, now let's start with the locators. Okay, so what is locators? In the sense like if you go to any of the HTML page, let's say that we are going to do the login. So let's go to the login page. And here you can see like we have this input field, and this is also input field. and this is a checkbox. Technically that is also a input field, and here we have something like anchor tag, that's a link text, and here we have a login button. It seems like button, right? Let's go and inspect. Yeah, it's a button. Okay, so this tag name, and this is my locator uh, name, and this is the locator value. Okay, so how to identify locators in the sense? Before that, let us understand why we have to identify locator. So what we have done previously, we just launched the browser. This to line is basically used to launch the browser. Actually, this is the line which is used to launch the browser. This line is basically we are trying to say that, hey, here is my driver file and you have to use it. Okay, and this one to load the website, correct? Now we have loaded the website, and if you go back to this page, you can see like there are a lot of elements. Elements is nothing but, for example, this one element, this one element, this one element. So whatever the fields, interactive or non-interactive fields we see on the page is known as elements. Okay, so here let's say that I want to type something in this. To type a test data in any of the field, we have to use the function called send keys. But where we have to send the keys, where we have to type in the sense on a element. So we have to find the element. Now there are 8 ways to find a element. For example, we have like ID, and you can see the syntax. Anyways, I will show you in the code, so don't worry about the syntax as of now. And then followed by name, class name, link text, partial link text, tag name, CSS, and the XPath. XPath is the least preferred, but trust me, in real time, most of the time, we end up with using XPath only. And this is the hierarchy, like it's a order, like ID is most preferred, XPath is the least preferred, and then we have like name, class name, link text, partial link text, tag name, CSS. Let's see one by one. Okay. Now let's see how to run our test in the cloud environment in the Lambda test platform. It's going to be very easy. So Lambda test already have a very good configurator. We are going to make use of that. Let me show you. I will leave the link in the description. You can check it from there. So first of all, here we have to select which operating system we are going to execute. So I'm going to select the latest Windows 11, and then I'm going to select like the Chrome with the version 97. 98 is beta, so we'll leave that for now. We'll go with the 97.0, and then if you want to set the screen resolution, probably you can do that. I'm going to leave it as it is by the default. And here you can select we got the desired capabilities. In our case, of course, we are using Java, but if you are interested to execute with the help of like C#, PHP, Ruby, or any other language, definitely you can switch around and you can use it. So this is the desired capability. We are going to make use of it. I'm going to click on the copy, and I'm going to paste in my code, but before that I'm going to do some modification. Since we are using the WebDriver, which means we are going to run in our local machine, but now we are going to use in the cloud machine, that is Lambda test. So I'm going to comment few these lines, and I'm going to do some changes. Let us see how to do that. So first of all, I will create a function called setup, and here I'm going to paste all my desired capabilities, and of course I have to import this desired capabilities from the Selenium remote package. And I'm going to annotate this with the before test, and then followed by we have to do some few changes as well. So first of all, WebDriver means we are going to execute in the local, but we know that we are going to execute in the cloud platform. So we are going to make use of this remote WebDriver, and we'll name it like driver. And that's it. The first step is done. Then followed by what we are going to do is we are going to say like here, right? So here we have to say like driver equal to new remote WebDriver, and then followed by we have to pass the URL. So here I will say like new URL. Don't get confused. This URL basically we are telling the hub address, okay? Whereas this URL is our actual test URL, okay? So here I have to say like URL, and then followed by I have to pass my capabilities here, okay? So what is this capabilities in the sense? It's basically desired capabilities. We are saying to our code that, hey, I want to run on this platform, that is Windows 11, and this is the browser name I want with the version this one, okay? And here you can select we have two additional information like the build and the name. So build, let's say that we are going to give it like our first run, and name is basically we'll say like interact with input, something like that, okay? Just a test case name, you can give your test case name, and ID, and build you can give something like that, okay? And here we have to import the URL from java.net. If you see here, we are getting two suggestions. Make sure we are going to do the import correctly. Okay, it should be from java.net. And of course, it will give us some compile time error. We have to handle the malformed URL exception. So I'm going to use the try catch now. That's it, very simple. Now, what is the hub URL in the sense? If you go back to the Lambda test configurator, here you can see like we have the access key. We'll get the username, we'll get the password, that is access key, and then followed by the hub URL. This hub URL is basically like username, then followed by password, and then followed by the hub address. I'm going to simply copy it and I'm going to paste it here. Of course, we can segregate this, we can destructure like based on this is my username, this is my access key, and then followed by this is my hub URL. I can store it in multiple variables and I can use it. But for the first video, I think this is fine. We can just copy and paste. Maybe in next video, we'll try to segregate that as well. Okay, so far we have configured our remote WebDriver, and also we said like what are the desired capabilities we want. Okay, now what we are going to do is we are going to simply say like driver.get, and we'll take a test case scenario now. Okay, so if I go back to my Lambda test, the demo platform, it's kind of playground where we can learn a lot of things around the Selenium. So here we have two use cases. I'm going to pick up the second one, that is we have two input boxes. For example, let's say that I'm going to type 10 and then followed by 15, and when I click on this get values, here we can see the result. So let's see how many ways we can do the interaction, or how many methods we are going to learn from this use case scenario. So first of all, we have to identify both the input box. So we are going to use the locator strategy. Then we are going to do the click action on this button. So we are going to find the locator, and again we are going to perform the action like click. And once we get the result, we are going to get the result and we will do the printout. Of course, we have to do the assert, but that is not in the scope. Maybe in some another video we can see the assert. As this is our second video, I want to take it little slow. Okay, so in this particular exercise itself, we have lot of learnings. Let's see one by one. So first of all, we'll take this URL and here we will paste it. I will repeat once again, this URL is basically your test environment URL. And this URL is the hub URL. Okay, if you are familiar with Selenium grid concept, this will really easy for you. Even if you don't know, don't worry about it. You have to just pass like new URL, and you have to pass the hub URL that is provided by the Lambda test, and that's it. It's going to be very, very simple. I will execute and show you. Before that, we'll try to complete our test. So here we are printing the title, and this line also I'm going to move it outside of my test block. Okay, so here I'm going to say like public void, maybe like something like teardown, and then I'm going to say like driver.quit, and I'm going to annotate this with the after test annotation. Okay, that's it. That means before this test, we'll do the configuration like how to run in the cloud with the help of desired capabilities and the remote WebDriver. And then followed by, once my test is completed, I'm going to use this after test where it will just close the browser. And make sure whenever we are going to use the Selenium grid concept or any other cloud platform, in our case Lambda test, we should always use the driver.quit so that it will know that your test is completed and it can give us some result. We'll see that in a moment. Okay. So here we are loading the website and we are doing the sysout like printing the title. That is fine. Let's go back. And here, first of all, we have to do the interaction. That means we have to inspect and find the element. So here you can select it has an input, type called text and class called something and ID equal to someone. Let's see if it's unique or not. So I'm just going to copy that and I'm going to find it. And here you can select one of one. That means of course it's a unique. So we can use it. So here I'm going to say like driver dot find element by dot ID, and we are going to pass the value. Now I can store that in the left hand side. That is going to return me the web element, and we'll name it like what is this? This is A, right? So I'll say like A input, and then followed by I'm going to find one more, that is this one. So it has a ID called sum2, but I will try to use some another locator just for the demo. For example, here you can see like we have a input type text. Of course I cannot use that because here also I have type text, so it is duplicate. And then here we have like placeholder equal to please enter your message. which is also same. So probably I think not a good idea. We have to go with the XPath, but we'll try to use it maybe some other time. Okay, so I will just go with the ID itself. So here I'm going to say like driver dot find element by dot ID, and here I'm going to pass my value. Okay, and of course you can pass directly, like we can use the dots and keys, and here you can pass your value. That is also fine, or else we can store that as a web element and we can use the web element. Like here I can say like a input dot send keys and then followed by the value. Now you might be wondering, we are passing a integer as 10, but we are enclosing with double quotes because send keys accept a character sequence. That means we have to pass with the help of string. If you directly pass like 10, it won't accept because it needs a kind of character sequence, which is like your string. Okay, so that's it. We are pretty much done. So we have given two inputs, so 10 and 15, which is eventually 25. We'll try to verify that. Before that, we have to click on this button, right? Let's go and click action. So here we can see that we don't have any proper ID, we don't have proper class name, we don't have proper any other locators, right? So we are going to use the XPath. So here I can see like text called get values, so I'm going to copy that, and here I'm going to say like / button and then followed by text node equals and then this one. So here we are getting 1 of 1, which means our XPath is 100% correct. So I'm going to copy that, and here I'm going to say like driver dot find elements by dot XPath, and here I have to pass my XPath value, and then I'm going to do the click action. So I will say dot click. I have to call the function called dot click. That's it. Very simple, right? I think we are pretty much done for this, at least for the interaction with the input and clicking on the button. Let's try to execute this. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is I'm going to execute this. Okay, of course we can convert this into a XML file and we can execute the XML file, but as a starting video I think we'll go with the direct implementation, direct execution. So I'm going to do right click and run as test-ng test. Let's see the beauty. So if I go to my console, here you can see like it started execution, nothing happening in my local machine. But if I go to the Lambda test platform, let me go here to the automation section. And here you can see we are getting this execution, right? So it's already completed actually. Okay, so here you can select we have first run. First run is, if you remember, I have given as my build name, I believe, right? So if you go to the decide capabilities, you can say like build, which is first run, and the test name is interact with input, right? So here if I click on that, you can see like interact with input, that is my test. If I click on that, then you can see like step by step what actually happened. For example, here you can see like the browser session started, that means browser is launching, and we have opened this particular URL, and then followed by we have given some command like we have print the title, and we have found the element that is someone. If you remember here, this is the someone we found with the help of ID. So here you can see that, and then followed by we are trying to print the value as 10, and then we are trying to find the second input element. There we have typed the value as 15, and then with the help of XPath we have found the element and we have done the click on, and after the test we have closed the browser, right? So here we are getting all the step by step. And if you want to see the video, of course we can click on this guy, and here you can see like what is exactly happened. So I'm going to maximize this. So here you can see like it basically tried to do all the fill, the values are entered, and we also got the 25 as a value, right? So that's easy the Lambda test platform is. If you want to download the video, you can go to the video section, and here we have a download button. Just click on it, you will get the entire result. Okay, so pretty much we are good with the first launch in the Lambda test. Now let's see few of the other functions as well. Okay, so here we are getting the values, right? Once we click on the button, we are getting the actual result, so we are going to print that one. Okay, so if I go and inspect, here you can see like we have a ID called add message, so I'm going to copy that, and here I'm going to write my XPath, the ID again. So once I click on this button, then I'm going to say like driver dot find element, and then followed by dot ID, and I'm going to give the add message. Now from here we want to retrieve the text, right? So if you see here, whenever we do the like get values, it will do the calculation and it will show the value. So we have to take the text from this particular element. So for that, in Selenium we have a function called get text. Let's see how to use that. So here I'm going to say like dot get text, and that's going to return me a string. So I'm going to store it here, and then I will say like sysout and then followed by the text. Okay, that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, now if you go here, you can see like before this, right? So before this, like before entering the value, here we can say like enter, please enter your message, right? Let's say that we have a test case to validate whether the text box has this placeholder or not. So let's see how to test that as well. I'm not going to write the asset now, but I'll show you a function which can give you the data. Okay, so let's go and inspect. I think already we have inspected and we have stored that here, right? So if you go to the code, you can see like we have a input, right? So I'm going to print that one, right? So here I'm going to say like a input dot get attribute is the function name. If you want to retrieve some value from a input box, then we have to use the function called get attribute. And here I'm going to say like if you go to the DOM, you can see like this is the placeholder, please enter your message, right? Whatever is there, that is what we are seeing here as well, right? So I have to get the attribute of this particular attribute name called placeholder. So I'm going to copy that, and here I'm going to paste it, and that's it. That's also going to return me a string. So I'm going to copy, I'm going to sysout that. So sysout and then followed by attribute. Okay, we'll do some string concatenation just to identify it. Okay, so this is also like placeholder value, and this is my result, right? Result of the addition of two numbers. So I'll say like result. I hope you are able to understand. In this particular lesson, we have learned a lot of things like how to print the title, how to find an element with different locator strategy like ID. You can change it to name, link text like those, and then followed by how to use the send keys, how to use the get attribute, how to use the get text. I think we are pretty much good for today, right? Now let's execute this finally and we can wind up. Okay, so let's go to our Lambda test platform, and here I'm going to do a few changes. Okay, so first of all, if you go to this advanced configuration, you can see like if you want to get the network logs, probably you can enable it, and if you want to take the screenshot, you can do that, and video recording is by default it's all. And if you want to get the console log, for example, here we are doing all the sysout statement, right? I want to see that as well. So here I'll go and I'll just make it like true, and that should be fine, I believe. Okay, so yeah, we are pretty much good, and we got some new capabilities this time around. Instead of running in the same Windows machine, I'm going to select like Mac OS, and maybe we'll execute in the Safari browser with the version 15.2. Okay, yeah, that's it. Let's copy this guy from here to here. This is the changes. Yeah, also let's copy, and we are going to replace here. Okay, I'll just make it like let it be first run. That's not a problem, I think. Let's go and run this one more time. See, I'm writing my code in Windows machine and I'm going to execute in the Mac machine. That is the beauty of Lambda test. We can write it in anywhere and we can execute in anywhere. And here you can see like we are already getting some result, that is 25, which is perfect. And we got the placeholder like please enter your message, and we got the title of the page, right? Let's see the execution, whether it executed really in the Mac OS or not. So I'm going to go to the test again, Lambda test platform. I'm going to refresh the page, and if you see here, I actually don't have to refresh, it's showing me. So within the first run, here we have like interact with input, which executed in the Safari browser 15.0, and it's the Mac 12.0 version. So if I click on that, you can see the video here, right? So if I click on that, let's see. So it was pretty quick, I think. So here you can see like it just typed and we got the result, and that's it, really simple. And if you want to see the screenshot, you can see like view on click on view screenshot. That should show you like what is exactly happening. Let's go and check few other things. If I scroll down, here we are getting 25, right? Let's see that. Okay, so here if I click on this view screenshot, like yeah, we got this 25, right? That's it. Pretty cool. And I think lambda test is making our life really easy, because we have written our code in the Windows machine and we are able to execute in the cloud machine, of course thanks to Selenium grid concept, but the platform is really cool. Okay, so with that said, I hope you really enjoyed this video, and we have learned quite a few good functions today. That is pretty much fine for this video. We will see in the next one very soon. If you have any queries, please do let me know in the comments. Tata, bye bye, take care. In this video, we are going to learn two topics. One is the dropdown and another one is the alert. So first of all, we learn what is a dropdown and how to handle it with the help of Selenium. And followed by, we learn what is a alert and what are the ways we can interact with an alert using Selenium. And finally, we'll also learn how to run our test script from the test.ng XML file. Let's get started now. So let us understand what is a dropdown. So previous video, we started to interact with text box and buttons, right? So all are like HTML web elements. So here in HTML, to find it, whether it's a drop down or not, it's very simple. The HTML element will be in the select tag. Okay. For example, here you can select this is our drop down. Here we have multiple values and we can select any of this. So this is a single drop down. That means, of course, we can select either any of one value. But if you see below, here we have like multi-select, right? That means I can select multiple drop downs at the same time. Okay, so there are only two types of drop down. Either it can be single drop down or multiple drop down. Now let's see the HTML structure. So if you go and inspect this one, so here you can see like we have this select, and within the select we have this various options, right? So to identify it's a drop down or not, this is how we have to identify with the help of select tag. There might be a scenario where the UI looks like a drop down, but it is not a drop down. They are kind of like model drop down, or also we can call it as a bootstrap drop down. Maybe we'll handle that in some another video. Now let us see how to handle this with the help of Selenium. So before that, let me also tell you like what are the operations we can do, right? So we can select any of this, right? So in single drop down, we can do only the select action. We cannot do the deselect. For example, in multiple select, like here I am selecting New York and Texas, right? So if I want to deselect anyone, I can just simply click on that, or I can deselect it. For example, like I have selected New York. If I again click on that, it will be deselect, right? So in multi drop down, we can perform the deselect, where a single drop down, we can perform only the select action. Apart from that, of course, we can get the text that we have selected, and few other possibles are there. I will show you in a detail. So here is our basic test script that we write in our previous tutorial also, right? So same before setup, where I have a build name called dropdown, and that name of the test is like interact with select. And then we are going to execute in the Windows 10 platform, and the browser is Microsoft Edge with the version 97.0, right? Already we know like how to generate this capabilities from the Lambda test platform, so no worries about it. And here, of course, our the hub URL is there from the Lambda test. We'll also get this from the Lambda test platform itself, so we don't have to worry. And of course, in the teardown, I'm just quitting my browser. Okay, and here is my actual test. Here I have like driver.get. Get is basically a function that is used to navigate to that particular site. Okay, now first of all, what we have to do is it's very simple. We'll find the drop down first. Okay, why we have to find the drop down? That means we have to find the select unique locator for the select, right? So already we know that in Selenium, ID is main preference. The priority is given to the ID locator. So here we can see like we have this ID. So we are going to take this, and then I'm going to select driver dot find element, and then followed by dot ID, and within double quotes I'm going to give the value. Okay, and then I'm going to store it as a web element. So let's name this like select, or we can specify like it's a day. So we'll say like day drop down, something like this, which is understandable. Okay, and then what we are going to do, so we already know like to do the click action, we have a function called click. To type in any text box or text area, we have the function called send keys. Similarly, to select any drop down, we have to get the select class from Selenium. Okay, so we are going to create a constructor for that. So select, And if you notice, it is coming from the package called ui.select from this Selenium. Okay, so here I will say like select, and then I'm going to create an object for this. So let's name it like cell and equal to new select. And here you can see like in the constructor we have to pass the web element. So this web element is nothing but my day dropdown. Why we have to pass this particular web element to the constructor? In the sense, there might be possible that a single web page can have multiple dropdowns, right? So to interact with particular dropdowns, we have to say which dropdown we have to interact. So in the constructor, we have to pass that particular web element. Now here we are going to say like SCL dot, and you can see that we have various functions. So deselect all, in the sense we can deselect multiple selections, and as I said earlier, deselect will only work in the multiple dropdown, not in the single dropdown. And apart from that, we have like deselect by index, deselect by value, deselect by visible text. Now this is a single dropdown, so of course we are going to do the select action. To perform the select actions, we have three functions again. So like select by index, select by value, and select by visible text. Let's go with the visible text first. And here we have to give the value within a string. So what do you mean by visible text? So if you go here, you can see like value equal to Sunday and the text is Sunday. So this option, opening tag of the option and closing tag of the option, within that whatever the text is there, that is known as visible text in terms of Selenium. And value, in the sense like we have a function called select by value. And if you want to select based on the position, then we have to go with the select with index, and here index starts from 0. Okay, so let's say that we are going to select the Friday. Okay, I'm going to copy that, and here I'm going to pass it. So this will select the value based on this particular text. If the text is wrong, the given input is wrong, then of course we'll end up with an exception. Now we are giving select by visible text Friday. That means of course it's going to select the Friday. But how do I know whether it selected the text Friday or not? So to achieve that, we have a function called select dot, then followed by get first selected option. That means whatever the value, whatever the drop down value we have selected, we can get that with this method. And this is going to return as again a web element, and we already know that to retrieve a text from a web element, we have a function called get text. So I'm going to print that. So sys out, and here I'm going to say like selected drop down value. That's it. Very simple. We are done with the first use case. And apart from that, also we can, if you want to interact in a different way, we have the select by index, and index starts from 0 here, and then followed by select by value. And within the value, whatever the value here you are seeing, that we have to pass. For example, Sunday. Now you might ask me, hey Kaushik, you said that in a single dropdown we can select only one. But here you are passing select by visible text, select by index, and also select by value. What should happen in this case? It's very simple. First it will go with the visible text, then again it will go to the index and it will select the first one, that is 0th position, and then it will select the value by Sunday. So it might select 3 times, but whatever the value we are passing at the last, that is what it's going to shown in the UI at the last. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you, and it's very simple. Now we are going to execute this, but before that we'll also learn how to select multiple drop down. Okay, so here I will just add a comment. Okay, so let's go and inspect this one. So here if I go and inspect, first of all you have to see whether we have options, and options are available within the select tag. Then of course it's a select, so we can handle in the select constructor by the Selenium select constructor. Okay, and here also we have an ID called multi-select, so I'm going to copy that, and again I'm going to find that element. So driver dot find element by dot ID, and within that we have to pass it. Now we are going to store it as a web element. Let's name it like multi dropdown, and again I have to create the constructor. Can I use the same constructor? We can do the reinitialization, but I think for beginners level we'll just create another constructor or another object. Okay, so here again I'm going to say select, and then followed by I will name it like, what's this? This is basically countries, right? So we'll say like countries equal to new select, and within the select again we have to pass the web element, that is multi drop down. Okay, Now I said that we can select multiple in this, right? Let's see how to do that. So here we are using visible text. I will comment this as of now, and here I'm going to say like countries dot select by index, okay, and I'm going to pass it as 2. Okay, let's see what it's going to select. So here if you go, this is California, right? So this is my 0, this is my 1, and this is my second one. I mean, yeah, in the position 2, in the sense like it is the second, right? So actually 1 2 3, but we know index means -1, so 3 minus 2, that is 2, right? So when I say index by 2, that means it's going to select the New Jersey. And apart from that, also we know that we can select multiple, right? So let's see how to do that. So here I'm going to select countries dot select by I will go with the value this time, just to show you. You don't have to use all the 3 functions to select a drop down. You can use any of this. Mostly people will ask like when I have to go with index value or the visible text. If you know the position, like they are going to be static, the options are going to be static, and if you have like minimal number of options, you can go with the index. And if the text is going to change dynamically, then we can write the dynamic way also, or else if you know the value is going to be constant, we can use the value. In some cases there won't be value. In that scenario, we can either go with the index or the visible text. So here we have a Texas. So I'm going to copy the Texas. And if you see here, the visible text and the value both are exactly same, but that is not always true. In some scenario, there will be like some number or even value won't be there. Okay, but whatever you are seeing on the in the DOM, you have to get it. Okay, so this is fine. Now let's see how to convert this test into XML file. Okay, so I'm going to right click on this particular test file. This is my test file. I'm going to right click and then go to test.ng, and here we have an option called convert to test.ng. So I'm going to click on that, and here we have the test.ng.xml file, that is the default name. And here you can select, we have got this class name equal to package name followed by the class name. Now let's click on finish. So here you can select, we got the XML. So what is the use of XML? We can use this for a lot of scenario, like testing is a huge concept. But why I'm creating XML in the sense like with the help of XML, probably in the next video we can do the cross-browser testing. That means we'll write our script only once, but we will be able to run the same script in Windows machine, Linux, or maybe Mac, and in different browser as well. So we are going to achieve that very simple with the help of Lambda test. Now let's see how to execute the XML. It's very simple, like right click and then you can go to run as and test.ng suite. And I'm going to switch over to my Lambda test platform so that I can see the output. So if I go to this automation, and here I should see that in a while, and here you can see like the drop down is there. And within this you can see like we have this running, so it's going to execute. I'm going to click on that. And yeah, it's almost done actually. So if I go to my console, you can see like select drop down value, and we got something else. And here you can see like some string that we don't know what is exactly. I have made a mistake. So I said that here we should not print the web element directly. We have to use the function called .getText. Okay, I said that, but I forgot to use the function, which is okay. We understood something that if we print the drop down, I mean web element itself, then we will see something like a reference, some kind of reference. Okay, but if you want to see the actual text, we have to get this get text. And let's go to this video and let's see how it looks. So I'm going to maximize. So here you can select, first it is going to select the Friday, and if I go down, you can see that it selected New Jersey as well as Texas. Okay, it was very fast, but you can slow down the video to see it again. Okay, now you might ask me, Kaushik, hey, you are using get first selected option to print the first selected, but if I want to print all the drop downs, like here we are selecting by index, selecting by value, and I want to test whether it has selected all the options, then it's going to be very simple. So again we are going to say like countries dot get all selected options, and that is going to return me a list of web element. Okay, so here you can select all selected options. Now of course I can use the for each, and that's going to return me one web element at a time, and then I can just log that. Okay, so say out, and here I won't repeat the mistake, so I will print it. So web element dot get text. And don't get confused, this web element is basically the uh, name of the reference. Okay, we can make it anything. For example, I can say like country, right? So I can say like country. So from the countries, we are going to get one country at a time, and we are going to print the text. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So in this way we can handle with the drop down. And apart from that, we have also few other functions. Let me just give you a quick walkthrough. So if you go within the select class, and if you give like control O, and then you can see, so here we have a function called is multiple, that is used to return boolean. We can understand from the script itself whether the select is multiple or not. Okay, and get options in the sense already like what are the options we have. If you want to get all the options, we can use this. Get all selected options means, like as we saw now, if you want to print all the selected options, we can use this function. Get first selected, you already know of course, and then we have select by and deselect all. Okay, that's it. Drop down is very simple concept in terms of HTML as well as in terms of Selenium. I hope you learn how to handle the dropdown. Okay, I'm just going to execute one more time so that we can see all the options. Okay, here I will just add one more sysout like selected option. Okay, now let's run this one more time. So run as and then followed by test-ng suite. Now let's go to our Lambda test platform, and if I go back to the test, you can see here it's loaded, and here we have the live test view. Before I click on that, it's getting completed, the test is getting completed. That's why we are not able to see the live interaction, or else of course you can see that. Here we can see that, but it's very minimal, right? If you have a larger script, of course that will be a great feature. Now let's go back to our console, and here you can see like we got the New Jersey and we got the Texas, and the first one is the Friday. Okay, so that's it, very simple. Now next, let's move to the next topic, that is alert. In this test also, I have my setup and the teardown. And within this actual test, we are going to write now. So here we'll say like handle dropdown, I mean handle alert. And of course, we have to change the URL. So let's go to our test site, and here I'm going to change the URL. Now let us understand what is an alert. So alert is basically used to bring the focus of an user to the web page, right? So for example, you might have seen this in older application and in some of the new application as well. So once I click on this click me button, you can see like I'm an alert box. So this is what alert. First thing you have to remember, whenever there is an alert, we cannot inspect the page or we cannot do any other interaction. For example, I'm trying to right click and do the inspect, but it's not possible at all. Okay, so how do we handle it? Very simple, very simple. Alert is, I will tell you that. Okay, don't worry. But here we have to remember few concepts. What is an alert? Alert is an JavaScript based pop-up, kind of pop-up, not exactly. It's like kind of dialog, or we technically it is known as alert. Okay, so here we have alert, and this www.lambdatest.com says, right, so this text is basically coming from the web page itself. So from wherever the website you are going to open the alert, it will be very similar, like the web page name and then followed by says. So that we cannot do anything. This is like browser configuration or browser properties, we cannot handle that. But here we have a text, right? I am an alert box. If you want to retrieve that text, of course we can use that. And here we have a only one button, that means it's a simple alert. And if I click on this one, you can see like this is known as confirm, because we have OK and cancel. That means two buttons are there. Okay, I can either click on the cancel button or either I can click on the OK button. And apart from that, also we have this prompt box. Prompt box in the sense like here we can enter some value. For example, I can enter my name as Kaushik and I can click on OK, and you can see the same here. Okay, so let's see how to handle this. Okay, now let's see how to interact with the alerts. So first of all, what we'll do, we'll inspect this element. We cannot inspect the alert, but of course these are normal HTML web elements, of course we can interact. Okay, so here we can see like we have something called click me, right? So I'm going to write a XPath for this. So /button and then followed by dot equals, and within single quotes I'm going to pass my value. And here we have 3 buttons. Nice. So we have to write some another type of XPath. Let's go to let XPath. Yeah. Okay. So here we have to write some kind of parent base or child base, or maybe we can go with the indexed based XPath. So here let's go with the index based XPath. Or also I can use the following sibling concept here. Let's go and inspect. So here we can say like 1 of 1. Okay. By the way, this is known as let XPath. That is, this is used to find the XPath. If you are interested, you can use it. But for learners at the beginners level, I will recommend you to learn the XPath concept. Okay. Since XPath is not in this video, I'm just using the tool to grab the XPath. Okay. So I'll just copy this, and here I will say like driver dot find element, and then followed by dot XPath, and then followed by the value. Okay, then what we are going to do, we are going to do the click action. So we'll say like dot click. Okay, and once we do the click action, what will happen? Of course the alert will appear, right? So I have clicked, now alert is appeared. And as I said earlier, when there is an alert, we cannot do anything. We have to handle it, or else we will end up with an exception. Okay, so how to handle it? In the sense, very simple, we have to switch to the alert box. So for that, in Selenium we have a concept called switch to alert. Let's see how to use that. So driver dot switch to, and then followed by alert. Okay, so this is going to return me the alert reference. So alert is basically what? Alert is basically an interface which will be implemented in the remote alert class. Okay, so if I go within the alert interface, you can see like only 4 functions are there. So it is very easy in Selenium. We have dismiss to click on the cancel button. We have accept to click on the OK button. And if you want to retrieve the text of an alert box, you can use the get text function. That's going to return the string. And if you want to type something on the prompt alert box, then we can use the send case function. Okay, so I'll see one by one now. So let's go to the test, and here I'm going to say alert dot accept. Okay, so this is going to accept the alert. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So here I'm going to click on this particular box, click me from the JavaScript confirm box. Okay, so again we'll try to take the XPath. Okay, it's basically the text based with the collections concept. You can write a better XPath, but I think this is fine. Okay, so here I'm going to select driver dot find element, and then followed by dot XPath and the value, and again I'm going to do the click action. So basically it will try to click on the next button, right? And there we are going to do the dismiss action. So I can use the same alert reference. So here I can select alert dot dismiss. Okay, now if you want to type on the alert, that's going to be very simple. As I said, like we have the send keys function, right? So let's go and inspect this one. So here I can see like we have this XPath. So I'm going to use this. So driver dot find element by dot XPath, and here I have to give my value, and again I'm going to do the click action, right? And then followed by I'm going to say alert dot send keys, and here I'm going to type my name, that is Kaushik, and that's it. We are pretty much done. We have typed the name, but of course we have to handle it, we have to accept it. So again I'm going to say like alert dot accept. Okay, that's it, very simple. And if you want to know what is the text present in the alert, then we can use the get text function. So I'm going to say like sysout, then followed by alert dot get text. Okay, and always remember we have to use the get text before handling the alert. Once we accept or dismiss, of course there won't be any alert, right? After that, if you say like alert dot get text, eventually we will end up with an exception. Okay, so I'm going to execute this now, and then I will show you what are the exception we can expect from the alert. Okay, so I'm going to click on this run button now directly from the test script, and let's go to our Lambda test platform. I think I have given the same name as dropdown, so that's why that is this is also running in the same dropdown section. If you change the build name and the test case name, of course we can see another test report like this. Okay, so let's go to the, it's completed already and it took around 8 seconds, which is really fast. And if I go and play this video, I don't think you can see actually all those alerts because it will be really fast, but let's see. Yeah, here you can select, we got that one, and here also, yeah, it's completed. It's very insanely, it's very fast, but yeah, that's good actually. Okay, so if you go here, you can see like I'm an alert box, that is the text we have printed from here, right? Now let's see what are the exception we can get. Okay, I hope you are very clear with this alert concept. There are only 4 functions. One is how to handle it. Okay, basically we can handle the accept, I mean handle the alert with accept or dismiss. And if you want to type something, we can use the send keys. If you want to retrieve the text, we have to get the get text function. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to handle this alert. Okay, I'm not going to accept this, so I'll just comment. After that, I'm trying to click on the second button. Okay, now let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to run this again. And yeah, we can see the exception in the console itself, so we don't have to go there, but still I will just like to show you what is exactly happening in the web as well. So it's completed again within 4 seconds. And if I play this video, so here you can see like we got this alert box, but we didn't handle it. And if you go here, we got an exception. Okay, so what is the exception? Unexpected alert open, and we'll get the text of that alert. Okay, unexpected alert in the sense like there is an alert, but we didn't handle it. Without handling, we are trying to do some other action. In that scenario, we'll get like unhandled alert open exception. This is the message actually, and the exception name is unhandled alert exception. Okay, similarly, there is no alert in the UI, but you are trying to switch to alert. In that case, we'll get another alert like no such alert present exception. I will show you that as well. Okay, so once we click on that, then only we will get the alert. So we are trying to switch to the alert, right? Let's comment this particular line. Okay, now let's run this again. Let's see what happened in this time. Okay, so we got the exception, and here you can select no such alert, that is the message, and here the exception name, that is no alert present exception. Okay, so it's a very simple concept in Selenium. The alert is, I think, very simple concept. Just we have to remember the concept. Okay, apart from that, we also have something called model alert. So what is model alert in the sense? Let me show you in the UI. So if I go back to this like bootstrap alert, you can see like we have a lot of things. These are technically not alert. These are basically like your toast message. We call it as toast message or kind of notifications. Okay. And if you go to this bootstrap model, and if I click on this launch model, you can see like here we are getting close and the save changes. How to handle this is very simple. So if you remember the alert concept, I said that whenever there is a JavaScript alert on the UI, we cannot do any other interactions, right? But here you can see I can do right click, I can do the inspect, right? So it's simple web element only. So you have to find the element, you have to say like dot click or whatever the action you want to perform. Okay, so that's it. Very simple concept alert and drop down as well. Okay, let me give you a quick recap. In drop down, we learned few of the functions like how to select, how to deselect. We didn't see that, but yeah, you can do the like instead of select by index, you can say like deselect by index. That should work fine. Okay, and also like how to get all the selected options, how to get the first selected options, and also like visible text, index, value. We learned quite a few, and of course we saw other functions like is multiple, that is used to know whether the dropdown supports multiples option select or not. Okay, and in the alert, it's very simple. We have only 4 functions. One is the accept, to click on the OK button, dismiss, to click on the cancel button, send keys, to type on the alert, and get text, to retrieve the alert text. Okay, and also we learned like how to execute the test from 𝐿𝐻 XML file in the Lambda test platform. So that's it from my side. I hope you have learned this tutorial and enjoyed the tutorial. If you have any queries, feel free to ask me in the comment. I'll be happy to reply back. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one very soon. Tada, bye bye. Take care. In this video, we are going to learn two concepts. The first one is the window handling, like what is window handling and how to handle multiple windows with the help of Selenium. Then followed by, we are going to learn what is a frame and how to handle a frame, or also we are going to deep dive and learn how to handle nested frame with the help of Selenium. So let's get started now. Let us understand what is a window, or technically it is also known as tab, right? For example, in this browser, I have two tabs. One is the Selenium from Lambda test website, and another one is from my website, that is LetCode with Kaushik. Now, if I plug this out, then of course it's a new window, right? So we can call it as a new window, or it's basically also known as technically a tab. So a window or a tab, both are technically same. In interview, they might ask you like, how do you handle a tab or how do you handle a window? Technically, both are same. Now let's see some example to understand. For example, here you can see like follow on Twitter. So once I click on that, it's going to bring up a new tab or a new window, right? So that is what window handling concept. Now you might ask me what's there to handle it, because as soon as I click on that, the focus is coming to this Twitter web page, right? But technically that will not happen with the Selenium. We have to switch, okay? I will tell you how to switch and all those, but let us understand the concept. Now, if I go and click on this like us on Facebook, you can see like again we are getting another tab, right? So this also like tab or window, as I said, both are technically same. And if I go and click on this below, right? So if you click on this follow all, you can see like we are getting only one, but actually there will be multiple. So here you can see by default Chrome blocks this. So Chrome is blocking, like allowing not allowing to open multiple tabs. So here we can click on like always allow. This is just to safety feature. In Selenium we don't have to set anything like this. By default it will open all the tabs. Okay, so I'm going to click on like allow pop-ups and I'm going to click on done. Now if I click on this follow all, you can see like I'm getting multiple windows. So here you can select 1, 2, 3, and yeah, we got around 3 plus 1 the main window. Okay, so what are the technical terms you have to remember is very simple. This first window, right, like the lambdatest.com/selenium playground, this is our main page or main window, we can say. And once we click on any of the button or hyperlink or any element in a web page, that is going to bring a new tab. Then it is known as child window. Okay, and this is like our parent or the main window, and followed by whatever based on some interaction a new window or tab is going to come, then that is known as child window. Okay, so here we have the feature to maximize. In certain cases it won't be available there based on the implementation, but the concept is very same. So when we open a new page for the first time, that is known as parent window or the main page, and followed by when we click on any of the element and that's going to bring a new tab, then that is known as child window. Okay, so I hope you are clear with the concept. Let us see the coding part now. Okay, so in my Eclipse editor, I have a Windows as a function, the test_ng runner, and here we have system.set property because we are going to execute this locally and we are going to see the changes. Then we'll try to execute the same in Lambda test platform. Okay, so here very simple code. I believe you remember this. So Chrome driver equal to new Chrome driver. That means we are going to run only in Chrome driver, and then we are going to say like driver.get and followed by the particular URL. Okay, now let's understand what is window handle and window handles. Okay, there are two functions. So when I say like driver dot get window handle, you can see that is going to return me a string here. Okay, so I can say like this is my parent window. Now let us understand like what this parent window is going to return us. Basically we know that it's a string, but it will have some like hexa values which will be unique identifier for each and every tab, for each and every session. Okay, so I'm just going to run this, and also I'm going to say like driver dot close. Yeah, now let's go and run this. It will just open the page and we'll get some window handle ID, and then it will close the browser. Very simple test. Yeah, that's it. Now if I go up And here you can select the CD window and then followed by some hexadecimal value, hexa character value, right? So this is basically nothing but the unique identifier to the tab. For each and every tab, there will be a unique identifier and it will change based on the each and every session. So for the first session, if you are getting this value, in the next session, this will definitely change. Okay, just to confirm, I'm going to execute this one more time. Okay, so previously we noticed something like starting with C and now we got like 349. Okay, so it will definitely change. That is how the implementation works. Okay, now what we are going to do is we are going to click on this particular button, follow on Twitter. Okay, so I'm going to right click and inspect, and let's go and find this one. So here I can say like it's within a tag. That means of course it's a link text. So I'm going to copy this, and here I'm going to say like driver dot find element and by dot link text and then followed by the value. And always we have to trim the value. In link text we should not give the spaces. Dot click. So I'm going to perform the click action. Once I click on that, of course in the UI you can see like we are getting some window like this, right? And which has a title called profile slash Twitter, something like that, right? But let's go and try to print the title. Okay, so once I click on that particular element, I will just print the title. So driver dot get title, and let's store this here, and here I'm going to sys out. So we are expecting the one, since we have clicked on the follow on Twitter button, we are expecting the Twitter title, right? But that's not going to happen. Let me execute and show you the result. So here you can select we got this guy called Twitter, but our script is already completed and this is not closed, right? But if you see the parent window has closed because this Twitter page is basically my secondary, the child window. Here I am saying like driver.close, that means it will focus on the present, that is the current context of the driver. Okay, I'll tell you in detail. So here I have to, since I have clicked on this, I'm now expecting a new child window, right? So I have to switch to that child window. So here I have to say like driver dot get window handles. So here you can see like we have another function called get window handles. So here you can see plural form. That means of course it's going to return us multiple window handles. Okay. So I'm going to store that as a set of string. So by default it will return set of string. Internally it has implemented the linked hash set. Okay. Now here I will say like window handles and then followed by let's create an array list. Okay, so I'm going to create a array list or list basically, and that's going to be of type string list. I'll say like windows, something like that, equal to new and then followed by array list, and within the constructor I'm going to pass all the window handles. Okay, so let us understand what this code is going to do. Okay, so here I have created a new array list, and where in the constructor I am passing the window handles. So we know that in the window handles function, get window handles function is going to return a set of string. Now I have whatever the values I'm going to get, I have pushed that to a list. Why I'm doing this in the sense like there are multiple ways to handle a window handling concept in Selenium. For example, you can use a loop based on the title, you can switch, or else simply we can use a list. We can get all the values from a set, and then we can use the get function from the list. Okay, let me tell you. So here I will say like window dot get of 1. Okay, so what is 1 in the sense like this window handles, right? So drive dot get window handles, now it has two windows. One is the parent window and the second one is the Twitter, the child window. Okay, so when I say get of 1, in the sense it will move to the, or it will switch the context to the child window, but it will not work directly. We have to say like driver dot switch to dot windows window, and then followed by I have to say the window handle name, that is window dot get of 1. Okay, so already we have discussed about this switch to function, right? In our alert video itself, we have discussed like what is switch to and how to use the switch to. Similarly, we are going to switch our focus from the parent window to the child window. So for that, I'm going to use this function called window, and where we have to pass the string. So what is string? String is basically the window handles we are getting in the runtime. Okay, so when I say get of 1, that means it will move to the child window. If I say get of 0, that will be in the parent window, that is the main window. Okay, now since I have moved to this parent window, if I try to print the title, let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to execute this one more time. Okay, now you can notice in previous code, drive.close close this main window, but not the child one. But in this time it closed the child window, not the parent one. Why? Because here I have switched my focus to the child window, and now driver is referring to the child window. So if I say driver.get title, you can see the title, basically we are going to get something like Twitter. Okay, and also when I say driver.close, that means now the child window is closed, not the parent window. Now you might ask me, hey Kaushik, what if I want to close both the tabs, right? Or how many open tabs are there? You want to close it. Then the simple answer is here we have to use like driver.quit. So driver.quit in the sense it will close all the active session browsers, whereas close will focus on the particular targeted browser or targeted window. Okay. Now let me try to run this one more time. So here you can see Twitter browser is also opened and the same also. Okay. So here now we can see like the title is not loaded fully. So that's why we didn't get. We can solve this with the help of wait also, but maybe in some another video. Okay. Now let me try to print this one also, this page also. Okay. So here I'm going to say like driver dot get title, and this is going to be my parent. So let's log it out. So I just added two log statement. One is the for the parent window and another one is the child window. Now when I say driver.quit or driver.close or driver.find element, everything is going to happen in the child window. But let's say that we are on this Twitter page and we have click on the follow, and that's it, we are done with this page. Now again I have to come back to my original window, that is the parent window, right? So in that case, even though this browser is going to close, this tab is going to close, it will not switch automatically. We have to make a switch. So for that, again we have to say like, here I will just add a comment. So here I can select driver dot switch to dot window, and here I can give the window handle name again. Either already we have this list where I have the multiple window keys or the string values, I can use it, or else already I have used this window handle that will be always my parent window, right? So I can simply say like parent window, and that's it. Now this will again bring up the focus from the child window to the parent window. So here I can say like again I can give a sysout statement. Okay, now let's try to execute this one. Yeah, so here you can see like in the first time the parent window has a title called Selenium Grid, that is our lambda test website, and then followed by the child window title is nothing but Twitter, and then we are again getting back to the we are changing our focus from the child window to the parent window. So that's going to be our again our same title as our first the parent window title. Okay, so that's it. It's very simple. Okay, now here what are the exception you can get is very simple. Okay, so for example, instead of get of 1, I'm going to say like get of 2. Okay, we know that we have only two windows, that is the first one, 0th one is the parent window, and first one is the child window, that is the Twitter page. But if I say like 2, that means of course I don't have any uh, tabs related to that. So in that case we are going to face an exception. Let us see what's the exception. It will be like no such window exception. It's actually very easy concept. Just you have to remember the concept. I mean, the coding part is easy. The concept is little tricky, but it's easy once you get it. So always whenever we open the first page, that's like our parent page, and then followed by whenever we open the secondary page, that's going to be our child page. And mostly there will be in real time. You can expect like one window and one child window. In some interview they will ask you like, what if there are 100 windows, how will you handle it, all those stuff. I don't think that's a good UI implementation. If I'm the tester, I will say like, why we have to give 100 user, how user is going to interact with that, right? So those are useless question to me. But yeah, if you have to answer it, then it's very simple. So whatever the window we are going to get, just we have to give it here. Okay, now coming back to the exception. So of course we got an exception, and it says like index out of bound exception. Basically in the list we don't have that much, so we are getting index out of bound exception. Okay, and when we will get no such window exception, in the sense like, if the window is already closed and we are trying to move to it, then we'll get the no such window exception. Okay, so let me tell you that as well. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to just simply select driver dot close, and here I'll say like driver dot get of 1. Okay, so that means yeah, sorry, so here let it be 1, and then I'm going to move it back here. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to switch to the child window, then immediately I'm closing, and after that I'm trying to get the title. In this case we should accept, we can expect an exception. Let us see. Okay, so here we got the exception, and that's going to be no such window exception. That means the targeted window already closed. So what we are doing here is we are switching to the child window, which is correct. But after that, I'm closing that particular window, and then again I'm saying like driver.get title. So our focus is on the child window, and the child window is already closed by us, or maybe because of some issue. In that case, we'll like face this exception as no such window. And here if I say like 2, we have only 1, 0 and 1, that means 2. But yeah, in terms of index we have 1, 0 and 1. But when I say 2, since the list doesn't have that value, it will throw us list out of bound exception. Okay, so that's it for this window handling concept. I hope you understood, and if you have any queries, please feel free to ask in the comment. Now let's move to the next topic. Let us learn about the frame and the nested frame. So here I have a very simple website called letcode.in/frame, and here you can select, we have to enter our first name, last name, and then followed by the email address. That's it, very simple, right? So let's go and do that. So I'm going to right click and inspect this particular element called first name text box, and here we can say like we have a name called fname, and that should be unique, I guess. And yeah, so here how to check unique is very simple. Like we can write the XPath based on that. So double slash star and then followed by at the rate name equals the value. Okay, so let's go and give this. If it's going to return 1 of 1, that means of course it's a unique, right? So I'm going to copy this, and instead of writing XPath, I'm just going to take the f name. This is just to show you that how to find the element if it's unique or not. Okay, so here I'm going to say like driver dot find element by dot name, and then followed by I'm going to give the value, which is fname, and then of course I'm going to type my name here. So I will just give like Kaushik, and yeah, that's it, right? So it's pretty easy. Already we have discussed like how to find the locators, how to interact with an elements, right? So I'm going to run this now. Let's see what happens. Okay, the page is getting loaded, and once it loaded fully, then we can say like we didn't get the value as Kaushik, right? Now if I go here, you can see like it says like no such element. Already we discussed about no such element. That means the element we're trying to find is not available in the page. But of course we know that that is available. So what is the issue? Let us go and uh, see the DOM again. Okay, so if I go to this input and if I go little upward, and here you can see probably like we have a frame here. Okay, so yeah, so here you can select this blue color, right? So the highlighted blue color, that portion, that particular page is within the frame. So what is frame? Frame is basically, we know the HTML structure, right? The DOM structure. So there will be like HTML, and within that we have like a body, and within the body we'll have like div, text box, input, and select, and a lot of things, right? Now here and HTML is embedded within HTML, so that is known as frame. Why we have like this is based on the requirement. For example, some website use just to embed the advertisement, or probably if I have to get API request from different server and I don't want to be part of my particular web page, then probably I can use the iframe or the frame. So what is frame and iframe is very simple. Both are technically more of same. Frame is considered to be a little older version, whereas iframe is considered to be newer version. So if I go above this HTML, here you can see like I have a iframe, and that has the ID called first fr and name also first fr, and then followed by we have like src frame UI. Okay, so if an element is there within the frame, then first of all we have to switch to the frame. Once we switch to the frame, then the normal interaction how we used to learn so far, like handling the drop down or handling the inputs, everything is going to be same. Okay, so I'm going to copy this ID here, and here before interacting with this particular element, I'm going to switch to the frame. So here syntax is very same, driver dot switch to, and here we have to select frame, and here you can select we have overloaded functions. We can handle the frame in three ways. One is the index, that is starts from 0, and then followed by frame, that is string name or ID, and another one is the web element. So we can find the element based on ID, XPath, CSS, any kind of locator, and we have to pass that locator. We'll see all the three possibilities. Okay, so first of all we go with the name or ID. Okay, so here in my case the name and ID both are same, so we can give any one of them, that should work fine. Okay, so I will just pass it as a normal string. Okay, now I'm going to execute this. And here you can see now the value whatever we have passed in the sendKeys function, that has been typed, right? So it's very simple concept. Okay, now there is also of course another way. So I'm going to comment it out, and I'm going to select driver dot switch to dot frame, and here I'm going to pass the index as 0. Okay, now let's go and run this one more time, and it should work fine. Now you might ask me, hey Kaushik, there are three functions, so to switch the frame, so which one is recommended? So recommended is basically based on number of frames you have. If you have only one frames in your page, probably you can go with the index, or if there is a static locator like your name or the index, then probably you can go with that as well. Okay, and we got some exception. Let's see what is that. So here again it says like no such element, unable to find. Okay, and here I have said like switch to frame of 0, which is correct, but still we are getting some error. Let's go and inspect this particular page. Okay, so here I'm going to search for double slash, then followed by iframe. Okay, so here you can select actually I have 11 frames. Okay, so I was wrong, this is in the second position, so I have to pass my index as 1. Okay, so here I'm going to change this as 1, and let's try this one more time. So in this particular example itself, we have like multiple frames. So moving to the frame with the help of index might not be very useful. And few websites are based on ads. Like this website, letcode.in, is basically based on number of ads. So when there are number of ads are more, then of course the index might change. So using index might not be useful in this particular scenario. Okay, I'm not saying that should be restricted. we can use it, but in a condition. Okay, so here you can see like it's working fine. Okay, one more example is basically based on the um, a particular web element. Okay, so here you can see like we have something like src equal to frame UI, right? So I'm just going to copy this, or I'm going to write an XPath for this. So double slash iframe and where at the rate src equals frame UI. Okay, so this is one way of finding frame. So here I'm going to say like driver dot find element by dot XPath, and I'm going to pass my XPath. That's going to return me a web element. Let's say that this is going to be my frame element, and then I have to say the same driver dot switch to dot frame, and then followed by the frame element, that is my web element. Okay, now if I try to execute this, of course it should work. Let's see. It worked, right? That's it, very simple. Now let us go and try to find the second element, that is this last element. Okay, so last element also has a hill name called 𝐿name, so I'm going to copy that. And by the way, we are already in the frame, right? So do I have to find the frame again to interact with another element which is within the same frame? Definitely no. So already we have switched our focus from the parent page to the, or we can say parent frame to the child frame. So we don't have to switch again. Simply I can say like driver dot find element by dot name here, and then followed by dot send keys, and then followed by my last name, that is Chatterjee. Okay, that's it, very simple. Okay, so I'm going to stop my existing script. Yeah, it stopped already, so I'm going to close this browser, and let's add this driver.quit as well, so browser won't be open. Okay, now let's go and run this one more time. Watch it carefully, it will be really fast. Yeah, it's really fast. So I'm just going to comment this driver.quit as of now, just to show you the output. Yeah, so first name is there and last name is also there, right? So that's a very simple thing, right? Now let's go and do one more thing. Okay, so here you can select we have a email, so I'm going to inspect this one, and here we can select we have a name called email, so I'm going to copy that, and here I'm going to say like driver dot find element by dot name, and then followed by the email, and then followed by dot send keys and some at some.com, something like this. Okay, of course it's not my email, just to type something. Okay, so I'm going to execute this now. Let's see what happens. First name is typed, last name is also typed, but after that if you scroll down you can see email is not entered, and if I go to the console you can see like again we are getting no such element exception. Why? Because if I go to the UI you can see like this particular input, right? So if I scroll little up you can see here again we have a iframe. That means I have a iframe, within that I have again a iframe. So HTML is the parent frame or parent page, I can say. Within that I have a HTML page, within that I have another HTML page, that is nothing but a nested frame. Okay, so how to handle the nested frame? It's going to be very simple, same concept only. Okay, so here since I don't have any of the ID or name, I'm going to write the XPath for this. Let's go and search that one. So here I can see in CSS, which is like iframe has unique has background white. Okay, so I'm going to copy and paste. Yeah, I'm getting one of one, right? Now where I have to find this element. Okay, so here already I am switching to the frame. Within the frame again I have another frame. So after this interaction I'm going to navigate within my nested frame here. Okay, so here I'm going to say driver dot find element by dot CSS selector, and this is my CSS selector, and this is going to be my inner frame, or also we can say like nested frame. Okay, then again I have to say the same. So driver dot switch to frame, and here I have give my frame name as a inner frame. Okay, so let's go and run this one more time. My internet is little slow here, that's why it's taking much time to load. So here we go with first name, last name, and then if I scroll down, you can see the email as well, right? So that's it, very simple. Now, let's say that I have typed my email address, then I want to change my first name here. Okay, I want to change my first name here. Okay, so you might be wondering that already we have this first name, that is this one, right? This particular line. So can I copy paste and will it work? It will not work, right? Because this is currently we are within the nested frame, and that particular name, first name, is within the parent frame, right? So what I have to do is again I have to switch back my context from the nested frame to the parent frame. How to do it? Very simple stuff. Okay, so here I will just add a comment like parent frame, and here I can select driver dot switch to, then followed by parent frame. Okay, so parent frame in the sense from the nested will go one step above, one level up. Okay, and then I can simply copy this and paste over here. Okay, now before that I'll change this to like LetCode, and since we are using send case without clear, that should be appended. Okay, so let's go and run this one more time. Okay, so here you can select it typed 𝐊𝐿 first, then followed by Chatterjee, then my email, and again we have switched to the parent frame, and now we got like LetCode 𝐊𝐿. Okay, it's very simple. So if you want to interact with an element which is inside a frame, first of all we have to switch to that particular frame, and then we have to do the interaction. Now if you want to come out of the frame, we have two functions. One is the parent frame, that means let's say that we have main page. Okay, let's consider that as a 0, and frame is my first frame is my 1, and second frame is my 2. Okay, now I am in the second level, that is the nested frame. If I want to go to the first frame, I can simply say switch to parent frame. But from the nested frame, if I want to go to the parent page, then I have a function called default content. Okay, so here I can say like okay, let's take it like this. Okay, so here I have to click on this login link text. Okay, so I'm just going to perform the click action. Okay, so here I will say like login.click. If I run this without switching, of course we know that it's going to throw us error because it is outside of all the frames, right? So for that I'm going to say like driver dot switch to default content. Okay, so switch to default content in the sense, doesn't matter in which level of frame you are within the nested, definitely it will go out of all the frames and it will go to the main page. Okay, so I'm going to run this. Let's see. Yeah, so we are in the login page, right? That's it, very simple. Let me explain you one more time. Okay, so consider this is my parent page, that is the letcode.in/frame. Okay, and within that we have another frame which is nothing but our first name and the last name, and within that also we have another frame called email, right? Now this is our parent window. Okay, so we don't have to switch anything. We can simply say like drive.get, and whatever the elements within this particular area we can interact directly. But let's say that I have text box, and here also I have a text box. Then from the main page I have to go within this page, right? So for that we'll use the switch to frame, and that is done. Now from here I have to go to this particular nested frame, so again I have to say like switch to frame. Now, from this inner frame, if I directly want to interact with the main page, I can use the function called default content. But if I want to interact with one level up, that is my parent frame, I can say like switch to parent frame. That's it. Very simple. You can try it to yourself, and if you have any queries, feel free to ask me in the comments. Okay. And let us also learn how to run this with the help of Lambda test platform. Okay, so I'm just going to create a class here. Let's say that this is my going to be my config file. Okay, in the config file we are going to have the basic code how to run in the Lambda test, right? So already we have discussed about it, so I'm just going to copy paste. Okay, so first of all we need this before test, so I'm going to copy that. And also like after all the test I have to close my test the browser, so I'm going to use the after test as well. Okay, that's it, very simple thing. Okay, now here we have very basic thing, like here we have this build as, like I will name it like Windows and frame, and interact with I will say like Windows and frame as well. Okay, and we are going to run in the Windows 10 platform, and we are going to execute in the Microsoft Edge browser with the version called 97.0. And yeah, that's it. This is the Lambda test particular grid URL. Okay, so very simple thing. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to make it public, this remote WebDriver as a public, so that we can use in the different class as well. Okay, let's go to the window handling, and here what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the extends here. Okay, so extends and then followed by config file. Of course you can give it a better name, just for understanding I'm naming it like config file. Okay, and this system.set property we don't need now, and this driver also we don't need. So this driver is coming from where? This driver is coming from your remote WebDriver instance. Okay, similarly we'll go to the handling frame, and here also we'll do the same changes. And first of all we'll do the extends to the config file, and of course it should be execute within the test-ng. So let's name it like test-ng. Okay, so here we have two classes now. One is the window handling and another one is the frame. Okay, so both are extended to the config file. That means before each and every execution, from the config file it will try to execute in the Lambda test platform. Okay, now I'm going to run both the files, so I'm just going to select both the files, and I'll then go to test-ng and convert to test-ng. So we are basically trying to create a XML file. Okay, and then I will just click on the finish, and it says like already you have a test-ng. Do you want to overwrite it? Yeah, it's fine. So we'll just click on overwrite. Okay, now let's log into the Lambda test platform. Okay, so we are within the platform now. Now let's see the beauty. Okay, so I'm going to my Eclipse and I'm going to run this XML file. So run as test-ng suite. And if I go back to my Lambda test platform, so if I go to this automation section, so here you can select window and frames, both are executing, and it's basically running on the Windows 10 platform with the Microsoft Edge version of 97.0. We can execute in singular or also in parallel, and also we can do some configurations. So instead of running in same browser, I can make my test to execute in one browser and another test in one browser. We'll see that in detail in the next video. Okay, so here let's go and click on this. It's completed actually. So here you can select both the test has completed. Okay, so interact with windows and frames, and here you can see we got around like 8 seconds and everything is done. Just to show you, I'm going to click on this video, and if I expand this, you can see like first of all it's going to the frame video, that is frame test case. Okay, and that's it, it got completed. Yeah, so the second one got failure because of our script issue. So here you can select index out of bound exception. So you already know that. But yeah, of course, the execution is completed. So if you want to see the report, you can see it from the Lambda test platform itself. Okay, so that's it for the video. I hope you have learned how to interact with multiple windows and also frames and nested frames. If you have any queries, feel free to ask me in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one very soon. In this video, we are going to learn two concepts. The first one is mostly asked in interview, like how to handle the window authentication pop-up or web-based authentication. And also we are going to learn another topic, that is how to run our test script in multiple browser, like doing a cross-browser testing. So let's get started now. So let us understand what the concept of window authentication. Okay, so here you can see like as soon as I go to this particular page, you can see like basic auth and congratulations, you must have the proper credentials. But when we load the page for the first time like this, you can see that we are getting a pop-up here. So it's asking for username and password. And you might think, hey Kaushik, this already you have taught, this is the concept of alert. But wrong, my friend. If you remember, I said that in alert we have only 4 types. One is the simple alert that will have only one button, and then we have like confirmation where we can send a text and OK with cancel button. Only one text can pass, but here you can see username and password, 2 text box are there, then definitely it is not part of your alert, the JavaScript alert. So what is this? This is basically a window authentication, or also we can say like web authentication pop-up. Why this is there in the web page means just for adding a more secure layer. So before entering into your actual application, we have to handle this and then we have to go. So what is the solution? Of course, we have to give the credential like username and the password. In this website, it's like admin and admin. So username and password both are same. And once we click on the sign in, of course, we can see that the authentication is success, and it should say like congratulations, you must have the proper some valid credential, right? Yeah, so we can say that we got the authentication, right? Now let us learn how to handle this with the help of Selenium. Okay, so it's going to be very simple. I'm going to copy this URL first, and within the Eclipse, I have created a class called handle authentication popup within the package called popup. Okay, so first of all, we will run it in the local browser, then we will use our Lambda test platform. So as usual, we are going to use the system.set property for setting the path of the Chrome driver. So system.set property, and here we have to give the path, that is nothing but webdriver.chrome, and then followed by the path, that is /drivers/chrome driver. Okay, then we are going to use the Chrome driver to run our test. So of course we have to create an object for the Chrome driver. Okay, now here we are going to say like driver.get, and then followed by the URL of the page. But if I run this, you can see like let's go here. Okay, so I'm going to execute this. So here we can see that the browser got launched, and basically it's trying to navigate to that particular site, and here you can select we are about to give the credentials. Just in case if you wonder like alert is going to work, let me show you that as well. Okay, so here I'm going to say like driver.switch to .alert, and then followed by let's try to use the send keys, and here I'm going to pass the username as admin. Okay, we'll just try to pass the username and let's see the output first. Okay, and also I'm going to add a thread.sleep here just to show you the output. Okay, I'm going to wait for like 5,000, that is 5 seconds, and we'll use the try catch, not throw, so we'll use the try catch here, and after that we'll just close the browser. Okay, so driver.quit. Okay, let's run this. So it's going to launch the browser now, and then as soon as it's load the page, we can see that we are getting some exception. Here you can see the admin is not typed. I'm going to close this, and here you can see like we have a failure, of course, failure, and it says like no such alert. That means the authentication pop-up whatever we got is not an alert, so we cannot handle with the way of the alert. Okay, so how to handle it is very simple. First of all, we'll create a string username, and that's going to be admin, and then followed by we are going to declare another string as a password equal to admin. Okay, so this is my credentials. Now let's use this credential. So here once we load this website, right, so within the URL we have to encode that. How? It's very simple. So first of all, we'll use the concatenation here using the plus symbol, So here first of all we have to pass our username, and then followed by we have to give colon, and then we have to give the password. Okay, so for that again I'm going to say like password, and then followed by @ okay, so this is how we have to give. So here it's like username. First of all we will give our username, password, and @ then followed by the URL. Okay, now just to do the verification, this is not needed, so I will just comment. Just to do the verification, we can see that this is the proper message we are going to get once the credential is validated. So I'm going to inspect this one, and let's use letText path to get this value. So here you can see like we have the CSS value. Okay, so and I want to get the text from here, so I will just click on this get text. That will give me the snippet, so I can use it here, and that's going to return me a string here, which is let's store that as a text. Okay, and of course we have to import the by, so mouse over and import it. Okay, then I'm going to store it as a text, and we'll do the sysout just to see the value. And to do the verification or the assertion, we can use the testng assert. So I can say like assert dot assert equals, and here you can say like we can give two values. Okay, so one is the actual is nothing but the text we are going to receive, and this is the expected one, right? So I'm just going to copy this value, okay, and here you can select we have some spaces. So what we will do, we will just do the trim here. Okay, so I'm going to trim it, and this is my expected. Okay, so now let's create this expected. Okay, so here text.trim, because there is some spaces, so just to trim it, trim in the sense like we will remove the beginning of the spaces and after the text spaces. Okay, and this is my actual, that is I'm receiving from the web page, and this is my expected, that we know this value. Okay, and yeah, so that's it. So now we are going to run this one more time. Okay, so right click, run as testng test. And here we can see that now we didn't see that authentication, that pop up, but internally it has encoded and the value is set. So now we can see that congratulations, that is the success message. And here we can see that we got the congratulations message. Okay, and after the timeout it got exit as well, that means browser got quit. Okay, so that's it. It's very simple and simple concept, and it will work for Firefox as well as Microsoft Edge as well. Okay, I'm going to show you that. So we are going to do a cross browser testing, and for that we are going to use the Lambda test. Of course we can use in the local as well, but setting up drivers, setting up code will be a little tricky. I mean, of course we have to learn it, but Lambda test makes this kind of things really easy. So I'm going to give a demo for that. Okay, so first of all we'll use the testng parameter concept. So let me convert this file, this class, into a testng. Okay, so I'm going to convert into testng, and here we'll name this file as like auth.xml file. Okay, and let's click on this finish. Now let's go to the auth.xml, and here you can select default. We'll have one suite. If within XML file we can have only one suite, but we can have multiple tests and multiple classes as well. Okay, so I'm going to use the concept of multiple test here. Okay, so I'm going to copy this test and I'm going to paste over here, and the test name should be always unique. Okay, so we are going to run this in a test in Chrome, and also we are going to run in Firefox. Okay, there is no limitation to run in parallel or in sequence. You can have as many as you want. Okay, so of course based on the thread count size. Okay, now here what we are going to do is we are going to introduce a concept called parameters. Okay, so I want to run this test in the Chrome browser and this test in the Firefox browser. So the code base is only one, but the way of execution is going to differ here. Okay, so first of all, for that we have to use the concept called parameter from testng. So I'm going to bring that here, and here we have to give the name. Okay, so let's say that that's going to be my browser name. This is like your key, and here is the actual value. So first of all, we'll run in the Chrome browser, and then I'm going to copy the same, and here I'm going to paste it, and here I'm going to say like that should be my Firefox. Okay, now how to use this? So how to use this, let us see. It's going to be very simple actually. So let's go to the Lambda test configurator first. So you can just go to this URL to generate the configurator. Okay, I mean generate the capabilities. So here first of all, we are going to select the browser. So in my case, Windows 11 machine, Firefox, and the browser version is 98.0. Okay, so I'm going to copy this one, and let's go to our class file. And here we are going to create a method called public void setup. And we are going to use, we can use before method, before class, or before test. But for this simple example, I'm going to use the before method because I want to execute this before each and every method. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy paste. And here, of course, we have to do the import of the desired capabilities. So there's a shortcut in Eclipse, Control-Shift-O, that will do the import. Okay, and then of course we have to use the remote WebDriver. So let's create an instance for that. Let it be null for the first time, and then here we are going to create the object. Okay, so driver equal to new remote WebDriver with capabilities and the URL, right? So we have to give like new URL, and that should be from java.net.url. And within the URL, of course, we have to give the username, the credential of the Lambda test. So here I can simply copy this hub URL, and I can paste over here. Okay, and after that, of course, I have to give my capabilities, which is already stored here, right? And then the semicolon. Yeah, that's it. So we are pretty much done with this part. And of course, this URL will throw an exception called malformed exception. So we are going to use the try catch here. That's it, pretty neat and cool. Okay, I believe you understood till this part. Okay, now let's create the teardown as well, or the close setup as well. Okay, so here I'm going to create another method called public void close, and then we are going to give this driver.quit here. Okay, so driver.quit, and this is going to be my @after method. Okay, now of course we don't want the system.set property or the Chrome driver because we are going to use the remote WebDriver instance. So I'm going to delete those lines, and this is fine. This is absolutely fine. We want that, and this is also not going to work, but just for your reference, I will comment it here as it is. Okay, and thread.sleep, just to see the output, it is really not necessary. Okay, yeah. So coming back to this, what we have to change here is we can change the test name. Build name, let it be like handle authentication, handle auth something, and test name we can of course change, but let it for now. Okay, so what we are going to change is the browser name. So by default it's like Firefox, but of course we know that we want to execute in the Firefox as well as in the Chrome, right? So if I go to my XML file, you can see like I have used this name, right? That is like key and the value is like in which browser we have to execute, and the key is basically if you see, the key is same. So based on the key, the value will be taken. Okay, so I'm going to copy the key here, and here I can say like @parameters, and if you see, there are a lot of parameter options, but import it from the org.testng.annotations. Okay, and then within this we have to specify the key. Okay, make sure you're going to specify within the curly braces, and of course the key name should be as it is in your XML file. If there is any spelling mistake, it will not work. Okay, and we are going to get these parameters from the XML file, and we have to get that or receive that as a argument to the method. Okay, so here I'm going to say like string browser. Okay, that's it, very simple. Now instead of this browser name, we are going to pass that parameter here, and like whatever we have passed from the XML, that will be received here. Okay, That's it, very simple concept. Now let's go to the auth.xml file and I'm going to execute this. So this is going to execute in the Lambda test platform. Let's go there. And yeah, here you can select, already we got this handle auth, that is my build name. And if you click on that, you can select here we are getting your test name, which is running in the Chrome, and that is completed. After that, again you can see like we are getting your test name with the Firefox browser. So here you can see the status like completed, and the second one should be also completed in a moment. Let's see. So basically this is executing in the sequential one by one, right? So already we saw the Chrome execution. So let's go to the Firefox execution. And here I'm going to play the video so that you can see the output. My internet is little slow here, so that's why it's loading, or else it's going to be really fast. So here we can see like we got the basic authentication with the message like congratulations, right? So that's it, very neat and clean. Now let's fix few things. First of all, I don't want this your test name to both the test. I want that to be like unique, so we'll do that. And also we saw the sequential execution. Now we are going to check out the parallel execution. Okay, so let's go to our XML file first, and here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say like parallel, and the mode we are going to select is test because I have two tests here. Okay, and similar to this parameter, we are going to introduce one more parameter, and this is going to be my test name. Okay, and here we are going to copy the same here like test in Chrome, and here I'm going to I'm going to copy this, paste over here, and here that should be Firefox. Okay, that's it, very easy. Let me recap one more time. Okay, so within the test we have two parameters. One is for the browser name, that the browser we have to execute, and second one is basically the test name we are going to pass. So the first test name is test in Chrome, and second one is test in Firefox, and here the parameter is Firefox. Okay, now let's go to our class file, and here I'm going to bring up that one, which is this one, test name. Okay, so this is my key, so here I will pass it. And similarly, as we got the browser name, we have to got test name as well. Okay, so test name, and then instead of this we are going to pass this. Okay, now you might ask me, hey Kaushik, for the first one you have given browser name, and here you have given browser, and here test name, and here also test name. Like, if I'm going to give the same here, why cannot I use the same here as well? Of course we can use it, that doesn't really matter. This is just a parameter. You can give like ABC also, but yeah, you know, right? But the concept here is this will follow the sequential, like first argument is browser name, so it will go to the first argument. Second argument is test name, it will go to the second argument. So it will handle based on the position. Whereas from the authentication XML, that is 𝐊𝐨𝐿 XML, it will work based on the key names. So you have to give the name very correctly. Okay, I believe you understood the concept now. Now let's go and execute this one, and let's go to the Lambda test platform. So this time it's going to execute in the parallel mode. Okay, so here we can expect two browsers. Let me refresh the page. Okay, it's not started. Yeah, it started now. So here you can see like we got running. That means two browsers running at the same time. One is test in Chrome, so you can see like Chrome 98 version and Firefox 98 version. Okay, so that's it. I hope you learn how to do the cross-browser testing with the help of Lambda test. And it is also same for the Selenium grid concept as well with the help of 𝐻𝐿𝐵. And also the main important concept is like how to handle the window authentication. So we learned like we cannot handle those with the help of 𝐻𝐿𝐵, with the help of alert, but of course we can encode the username and password in the URL and we can handle it. Other than that, in Selenium 4 we have a feature like using the dev tools, we can do that. And also there are few tools like auto IT or securely, which can do the stuff, but I will not recommend to use those kind of external applications. Okay, but just in case, if you want to learn, I will leave a link in the description that is from Lambda Test blog. You can refer to this. In this video, we are going to learn how to take the screenshot, and of course we are going to learn the coding part, as well as we are going to understand why the necessity of screenshot in test automation. So why screenshot? Screenshot can be very useful in understanding the test execution flow of the application and its behavior. And then followed by, like, capturing screenshot can be helpful in debugging any test scenario with AZ. In case of test failure, screenshot can help to identify if the problem is with the test script or the application under test. While executing a test script, screenshot at certain steps can be compared with the baseline image to verify if there is any deviation from the actual image. So I believe you understood the concept of screenshot and why we need this. Let us understand how to code and achieve through Selenium. Let's get started now. So I'm going to use this page called lambdatest.com/selenium playground. So here you can select this visible portion, right? The white color, the HTML page. Selenium can by default take the screenshot. In Selenium 3 can take the visible portion only. It cannot take the full screen page. Of course, there is a way to take the web elements, particular element. For example, let's say that I want to take the screenshot of this dashboard, or maybe like this get checked values, a particular button, then of course I can do that as well. So based on element or a particular region or the visible portions, we can take the screenshot. Okay, so let's get into the coding now. So first we will learn in the basic, like the local Chrome driver. So I'm going to set the system.set property, and of course we have to set the driver path. So here I'm going to say like /drivers, then followed by the driver name, that is Chrome driver.exe file. That's it. And of course we are going to execute in the Chrome browser, so I'm going to create an object for that. That's it. Very cool, right? Now let us go to this particular website. So I'm going to copy the URL, and here I'm going to say like driver.get, and within this I'm going to pass my URL. Now what we are going to do is we are going to take the screenshot of the visible portion. So very simple thing. So here we can select driver.get screenshot as, and here you can say like it will ask you like what is the output you want to get. So here I'm going to say like output dot type, output type dot file. Okay, so here you can select, we have three options. One is the base 64, another one is the bytes, and another one is the file. We use this byte mostly in Cucumber report. So if you want to add a screenshot in the Cucumber report, we can use the bytes. File, basically it will take a raw file and we can give the extension like JPEG or the PNG. And base 64 is also used in extend report. So it will be like some kind of characters, like lot of characters that will be like embedded within the HTML itself. Okay, so as of now we'll go with the file, and that's going to return me a type called file. Okay, now we are going to use the Selenium inbuilt class, that is file handler. So let's call that, so file handler. And if you see here, we are getting two options. One is from org.openqa.selenium.io, and another one is from java.util.login. Of course we have to use the class that is available from the Selenium package. So I'm going to click on the first option, and then of course we have to create an object. So we'll create that. Then to make it simple, consider that in our system we have this print screen button, right? So when we click on that, of course it's going to take a screenshot, but that will be available in our temporary memory. Now if I want to use that, of course I have to paste it somewhere, like MS Word or maybe Adobe Photoshop. So we have to capture the screenshot that will store in our temporary memory. Then from there we have to utilize that, right? So exactly same concept here as well. So here you can see like get screenshot as, that's going to return me a file. Consider this is now in a temporary memory, and we are going to copy this file from the temp memory to the designated folder. Okay, so for that I'm going to say like file handler dot copy. My source is the actual screenshot, that file, and then here I'm going to say like new file. So I want to store in a new file, and then followed by I can give the path. So I'm going to store in the root level, so I can say like /, then probably we can give some folder name like snaps, and then followed by I can give the file name. Okay, so here I'm going to say like img1.png. okay, that's it. Very cool, it's easy, right? Now, as soon as we do that, of course, we are going to compiler is not happy. It's going to throw us some compile time error. Basically, we are handling with the file. So when I say // that means I'm targeting my root folder. In that folder or in that particular drive, there might be not sufficient memory to store any file. So some kind of exception we can expect, right? So to make our compiler happy, I'm going to use the try catch. Okay, that's it. Very simple concept. And if you noticed here we are getting a warning, say like this is a static function, we can call it in a static way. That's very simple. So we don't have to create an object also. I can just call the class name dot followed by the function name. That's it. So here we don't even need this object initialization. So I'm going to delete that as of now. Okay. So very simple, file handler dot copy. Okay. Now what we have to do, of course, we have to execute, right? So before that, just to save some memory, I'm going to quit the driver as well. Why I said save memory in the sense like whenever we run our test script, of course the Chrome driver is going to invoke and that will be take some memory in our RAM. But when we call the function driver.quit, it will clear the memory. Okay, so that is the reason in every test we must use this driver.quit. Okay, now let's go and execute. Hopefully it should run. If not, we will find it out. And first execution itself we got failure. That's not a problem. So if I go here, basically it's like illegal state exception. So by this time you should know what is illegal state exception. Of course I have done some mistake in setting up the driver path or this keyword maybe. So here webdriver.driver.chrome, that is wrong actually. So it should be like webdriver.chrome.driver. Okay, and here the file seems correct to me. Let's execute one more time. Okay, it's running now. Let's see if it's able to take the screenshot or not. Okay, so we got the browser, and once the page is loaded fully, then it will try to take the screenshot. But unfortunately, we got some exception. It says like file not found. Basically, this folder is not there in my project, so it's giving us error. Okay, so there is a way to create the folder with the help of Java as well, but I'm going to create it now manually. Okay, so right click new, and here I can say folder and I can give the name as snaps. Okay, yeah, that's it. Now I'm going to run this one more time. Let's see. Okay, so now the browser got launched and the website is also loaded and it got closed. Then definitely there should be a screenshot, right? Now let's go to our project and right click and do refresh. Okay, so this is the common mistake. After execution, you can see like within the snap folder there is no file. So Eclipse does not refresh of its own the files. Of course the class files it will compile every time, so it get refreshed, but other files we have to refresh. Okay, so right click on your project and click on this refresh. Then if you go within the snaps folder, now you can see like img1.png, that is the file name we have given, and we got the same. You can just double click to open it up, and here you can see like yeah, we got the exact like whatever is visible there, we are able to see that. Now let me show in the folder. So if I go to this and show in System Explorer, then you can see the file. Okay, so if I double click, it's going to open in this photos. Yeah, so here we can see that. Of course, if you want to take the bigger screenshot, you have to maximize your browser. Okay, let me tell you the syntax as well to how to maximize this, right? So as soon as I launch the browser, I'm going to say like driver.manage.window.maximize. Okay, very simple function. Now let's execute this one more time. So okay, we have missed the semicolon, so let's run this. Okay, so now already I have image1.png. now I'm executing the same code with the same file name image1.png, right? So what will happen in this case, in the sense the existing file will be replaced by the new file. Okay, so if I go to the folder, and here you can see like we got the bigger screenshot now, right? So how to take dynamic or like lot number of screenshot, in the sense, of course I cannot type img1 img2 like that, right? So what we'll do is we can use the date, or we can use some math.random to get the differentiate like random numbers. Okay, so yeah, you can try that, and that's going to be very, very simple. Okay, so we have taken the screenshot of the visible portion. Now if I want to take the screenshot of a particular region or a particular web element, I can still do that. Okay, so here let's say that I want to take the screenshot of this button. So I'm going to inspect, and this has some input, I believe, ID, I believe. So that's show input. So I'm going to copy that, and here I'm going to say like driver dot find element by dot id and the value. Okay, and that's going to return me a web element. Of course we know that, right? So here I'm going to say like element, and then followed by I'm going to say element dot get screenshot as, and here we have to repeat the same code. Okay, so I'm going to say like output dot type output type dot file, and that's going to return me a file. Okay, so that will be like my screenshot as 2. Okay, or I can say simply say like src here. Okay, then what can I do is I can simply say like file handler dot copy, and my source is src and destination is going to be new file, and then followed by dot slash snaps, that is my folder name, and then followed by element dot png. You can give png or jpg, that is jpeg. Mostly we use png because the size will be little lesser comparing to jpeg, and quality will be also rich. Okay, and of course we have to again do the same thing, so we are going to use the try catch here. Okay, now let's go and run this one more time. Okay, so that's it. We got the proper execution. Let's go to the particular folder. So right click on snaps and then show in system explorer, and within this folder we can select 2 files now. Okay, so this is the first one, the visible portion of the page, and this one the element. So the particular element we are able to take the screenshot. Okay, similarly if you want to take a screenshot of a particular region, for consider the simple form demo, this particular thing, right? So if you go and inspect this one, you can see, right, everything is within this class called something, right? So basically we have to find this element as a web element, and then we can say web element dot get screenshot as. That's it, very simple thing. Okay, now most of time what happens, this driver dot get screenshot as method, we don't get it directly. Why? In the sense like mostly since we are running in the lambda test platform, which is like your grid concept, so we go with the remote WebDriver. So in that case, if I change this to like remote WebDriver, which is absolutely fine, we can still run our code in the local browser with the help of Chrome driver as well. Okay, but when we say like WebDriver, what will happen in the sense like, since it's an interface where the get screenshot as method is not there. Okay, so we have to add a casting. Okay, so we have to do the typecasting. So basically this screenshot as function is coming from this take screenshot interface, so we have to do the casting, and after that of course it's going to work. Okay, so that's it, very simple thing. Okay, now let us understand how to run this in the lambda test platform and how to see the screenshot over there. Okay, so I'm going to undo my code here. Okay, and I'm going to copy the code from my previous class. So let's go and do that. Okay, so I'm going to copy this parameters and after method also, and I'm going to paste over here, and we'll change this. So now the build name is going to be like screenshot, something like this. And here test case name, of course we can get it from the XML file, and I'm going to run in the Windows 10 browser, and browser name we have already parameterized, so not a tension over here. Okay, and I think, yeah, that's it, we are pretty much done. One thing we have to change, so this one, not this 2 line, should be commented or deleted. I'll just comment for your reference. Okay, now what we'll do the same thing here, but already we have created a auth.xml, that is our XML file, right? So instead of this class name, I'm going to just change this particular thing. Okay, let us do one thing. I'm going to copy paste the same XML file, and here I will say like screenshot. Okay, and then followed by I have to change the package name. So my package name is currently basically, if I go to the class, and this is my package name, so I'm going to copy that and paste over here, then followed by my class name, that is also screenshots. So I'm going to copy and paste over here. Okay, and same thing, I'm going to change it from here to here as well. Okay, and of course we are going to do the parallel testing, and cross browser testing concept is also there. So if you see here, we have two test blocks. The first test block has a test name like test in Chrome, and second one is like test in Firefox. Okay, and of course the browser name is going to be Chrome first, and then followed by the Firefox. Okay, so let's go and run this XML file, and let's go to our Lambda test platform. So here we can see that screenshot, that particular build name is there, and here you can select test in Firefox and test in Chrome. So both are running in parallel, and of course it's got completed as well. It's insanely fast. Let's go to this particular test. Okay, so within the test, if you go to this like all comments section, and here you can, if you mouse over, you can see like taking a screenshot. That is our step, right? So if you click on that, we can see that visible portion of that particular page, and we also took the web element, right? So if I click on this screenshot, you can see get checked values, that also we are able to see. Okay, so this is how we can see the screenshot in Lambda test platform. Okay, let me give you a quick recap. It's easy, just to make you more easier. Okay, so this parameter concept, before method and after method, already we learned in our previous video. So if you missed that, I will recommend you to watch that one, so you will understand the parameter concept in TestNG, and also how to run the test like a cross browser testing in Lambda test platform. Okay, and here very simple code. So driver.getScreenshot as is the function that is used to take the screenshot, and within this parameter we have to give like output.file. So this is kind of like your raw file, and here we are specifying what is the actual output we want, that is PNG. And this file handler is a Selenium inbuilt class file. Okay, so we don't have to use any other Java library. Mostly people do that, but no need. You can use the file handler that is available within the Selenium itself. Okay, and here we can say that call the function called copy, and this is my source file, and this is my destination. Similarly, when I say driver.getScreenshot means, of course, the browser, the visible portion is going to be taken, and when I say web element, that means that particular element is going to take a screenshot. Okay, so that's it from my side. I hope you have enjoyed this screenshot video, and if you have any queries, feel free to ask me in the comments. Okay, in this video we are going to learn two concepts. The first one is how to upload the files in the local browser as well as in the cloud environment using the set file detector. After that, we are going to learn how to download the files in the local browser as well as in the cloud environment. So let's get started now. Let's begin with the upload thing. Mostly we can skip like upload and download in automation, but if there is a really requirement is there and we have to automate to proceed, then probably we should do that. But like there are multiple ways to handle it. Like you can use some third-party applications, or securely, or the auto IT. Those are like third-party application. You can use it, but I will not recommend you to use that because they are not stable. Whereas Selenium itself has inbuilt functions like the set file detector and the send keys. We are going to make use of that. Let's see one by one. So first of all, let me tell you the scenario what we are going to achieve today. So here you can select this GitHub, some kind of jQuery practice website kind of. So here we have like add files. Once I click on it, you can see like we are getting some kind of pop-up, right? Of course, this is a Windows pop-up, so Selenium cannot interact. Selenium focus is basically within the browser. The scope is restricted to the browser web pages, not the browser window, so we cannot handle it. But of course, there is a way to do it. Okay, so for example, I'm going to click on this logo.png, and once I click on open, you can see like it's get uploaded here. Not yet fully, it's just showing the file name. Once I click on the start upload, you can see like we got some progress, and once the upload is success, we can see the delete. So we are going to automate the same. Let us understand how to do it in the local browser first. So I'm going to write a probably a main method just to make it very simple. And of course, as usual, we want the system.set properties so that we can set our driver path. Then we are going to use the Chrome driver itself. Okay, that's it. Very cool. Now we'll give our URL, that is driver.get, and then followed by this particular URL. So first of all, what we have to do in the sense, like, first of all, we have to click on this add files, right? So I'm going to inspect this one. And as soon as I inspect, you can see like it has a input @type equal to file. So this is the catch here. So we have to understand few things. So how does the HTML work in the sense, like, whatever it is, what website it is, what technology it may be like Angular, React, or Vue.js, whatever it is, as per the HTML, if you want to upload something, there should be input type equal to file. But you might ask me, hey Kaushik, there are UI where we cannot see this. Of course, you cannot see this directly, but of course there will be a this particular element like input type equal to file. Without that, there won't be any upload will happen. Okay, so just search that, you will get it. Okay, so here I have like this one, so I'm going to write the XPath /input and then followed by @type equal to file. Okay, so here I'm getting 1 of 1, so of course it's correct. Let's copy this one, and here I'm going to say like driver dot find element by dot XPath and then followed by the value. Okay, now let's store this in a web element. I will name it like upload element. Okay, so first, the direct way of doing is using the 𝐶𝐻𝐾𝐫 function. Okay, so if I go to my project resource, you can see like here I have a file called let me refresh this one. So here you can see like I have a file called logo.png. This is the LetCode website logo. Now I'm going to send that. Okay, so if I say like upload element dot send keys, and I have to select / then followed by logo.png. So this is my URL, right? So / in the sense root of the project, and this is my file name with the extension. Now you might ask me, hey Kaushik, but we have to click on that. Why are you using send keys, right? So if you see here, this particular element is basically input. Input means what? Input means it is expecting something to pass. What it is expecting in the sense here, type equal to file. So when I say like send keys then followed by string, that means it is expecting character like password or input type equal to text. But here file, so we have to give the file path. Okay, but unfortunately this will not work. Let me execute and tell you. Okay, so here you can see like there is no upload, and here you can say like we got an exception and it says like path is not absolute, so we have to give the absolute path here. How to do it is very simple. We'll use the file. So file, let's create an object for this, and within the file constructor we have to pass the actual file path. Okay, that is this one. Okay, then what we'll do, we'll here within the send keys, of course the send keys needs the absolute path, right? So if you go to the console, you can see like path is not absolute, so we are going to get the absolute path. Absolute path is nothing but the full path of that particular file. Okay, so I'm just going to show you that as well. So sysout file dot get absolute path. Okay, so I'm going to print and show you how does it's going to look, and I'm going to pass the same within the send keys as well. Okay, so right click, run as, and then followed by Java application. So now here you can see like we got this LetCode PNG and the file name and the size of this, and after that we have to click on the start upload. We'll do that in a moment. Okay, so here you can say like this is the absolute path. So it's basically telling like where is my actual directory, from which directory I'm going to get and which project and the entire file location. Okay, so that is what absolute path means. Now we'll continue with our validations. Okay, so of course we have to do that. So once I upload the file, then I can click on this start upload, right? So I'm going to inspect this one, and here I can see something like span. So I'm going to write a text based XPath, so /span, and here I can select dot equals then followed by the text. So 1 of 1, of course it's correct, right? So I'm going to copy that, and here I'm going to say like driver dot find element by dot xpath and the value. Then of course we have to do the click action. Now once we do the click action, what will happen, this file will get upload, but to like, let me click on this. So here you can select upload is done. To validate, we'll see like whether the delete, it's a button basically, so delete button is there or not. Okay, so here I can see like data type equal to delete, so I'm going to use this one. So I can say like button and data dash type equals delete in caps, right? Yeah, so we are getting 1 of 1. I'm going to use this CSS. So here I'll select driver dot find element by dot CSS selector and the value. So this is going to return me a web element, or directly we can say like dot is displayed. So this will return me boolean, right? So I can directly use the assert here. So let me go and do that. So assert true, and here we are expecting this to be displayed, right? So assert true in the sense we are basically expecting this displayed to be true. Okay, so let's go and run this now. We'll end up with an exception. I will tell you why. So file is uploaded and start button is also clicked, and you can see delete button is also there. But if I go back to my script, here you can see like it says like no such element, unable to find the locator button data type equal to delete. So basically like when we click on the start upload, it will do the uploading, right? So here there will be a progress bar, right? So the delete button doesn't appear very quickly. So we can use the explicit wait, but explicit wait is not necessary always. We can fix this with the help of implicit wait itself. Okay, so I'm going to bring one more line here. So driver dot manage dot timeouts dot implicitly wait, and I'm going to wait for like 10 seconds, and here I will pass like 10 seconds. I mean 10 is the actual value and time minute is the seconds. Okay, now let's go and run this. Okay, so here you can see like we got this, like this is the absolute path and there is no error. That means of course our test case passed properly, right? Just to confirm, I'm going to negotiate this, like this is going to be true. That means the element is displayed, but here I'm saying like I'll assert true and I'm passing the false value. So in this time this should fail. This is just for a confirmation, like implicit wait is working, just to show you. Okay, so we should end up with an exception. So here you can see like delete button is there, and exit, yeah, and here you can see like expected true but found false. Of course, just to show you that, so I'm going to undo this one. Okay, so that's it. This is how we have to upload any file, let it be Chrome browser or Firefox or Microsoft Edge or even Opera. The same technique will work for the local environment. Let us understand how to do the same with the help of cloud environment like Lambda test in our scenario, but the same concept will be applicable if you are going to execute in the Selenium grid as well. Okay, so first thing first, of course we have to write our before method and after method. So I'm just going to copy the code from previous test, and actually we don't have to do this every time. If you are going to create a framework, the before method and after method will be somewhere in the common place and you can reuse that, but just for our learning as a beginner, I'm doing this repeatedly. Okay, so let's go and paste it. So yeah, so here we'll change the build name as upload, and then followed by we are going to run in Windows 10 browser, and the browser name will configure from the parameter. Okay, so here what we have to change, first of all we don't want this guy, and this driver of course we don't need the static or this argument, and this guy should be a test now. Okay, that's it, very simple, we are pretty much done. Okay, so driver.manage, we have the implicit wait, we are going to this particular URL, we are clicking on the, we are passing the file with the help of get absolute path, and then yeah, we are doing some validation. Okay, so let's try to run this. Before that, of course, I'm going to convert this into XML file because we are using the parameter concept, and already I have that. So if you go to this upload.xml, you can see we are using the browser name as Chrome. First of all, I'll change this to Chrome and upload file in Chrome. Okay, now let's go and run this. So if I go to my Lambda test platform, and if I go to within the automation, and here you can select, we have the build name as upload, and if I see like upload in file, it says completed. Let's go and check, and here you can see like we got some exception. Okay, so this basically like 400 bad request, we got the exception. Now let us go to this Eclipse console. Here we are not able to see any exception, but if you go to this test.ng console, here we can see like invalid argument, file not found. It says file not found. Okay, so why it's happening in the sense, of course, we are running in the cloud environment. So whatever we are doing it for the local browser, that means whatever the absolute path is there, it is understandable by the system. But when I say I want to run in the cloud environment, and there I'm getting the absolute path, but the file needs to be there also, right? So for that, what we can do is we can use the Selenium inbuilt function called set file detector. Okay, so whenever we create the object, like here we have created the object, after that what we have to do is we have to say like driver dot set file detector, and here we have to call like new local file detector. Okay, so what is this basically like? This will help us to upload any files in the cloud environment. Okay, so let's go and execute the same. It should work now. Okay, so right click, run as test.ng suite, and if I go to my accounts, so here you can see we got this running. Let us wait until it completes. Okay, it got completed, and if I go inside that and let us play the video. Okay, so watch carefully here. It's got completed actually. So let me expand this, I mean full screen, and if I play now, you can see the file got uploaded, and also it's get completed actually because the test case is very small one, but you got the idea, right? So if I go to my Eclipse console, you can see like test run 1, there is no failure, which means this one line of code can do lot of magic. Set file detector, and within that method we have to call this constructor, that is set this constructor, that is local file detector. Okay, so that's it, very easy. Will this work for any other browser? 100% yes. So I'm going to change this to Firefox now, and I'm going to execute one more time. Okay, we have to go here, right? So here you can see like it's running on the Firefox 98, and if I go inside that test, so here itself we can see like there is no error. That means of course it's going to work for sure. Still, I will just play this video so we can check it out. Okay, so here you can see like we got the Firefox browser, and also the file got uploaded, delete button is there, right? So that's it, very simple, only one code. Like Selenium, of course, you know, you can write the code once and you can execute in multiple browser, multiple environment, multiple operating system with the help of lambda test. Okay, so that's it, very simple. If you have any queries, feel free to ask me in the comments. I'll be happy to help you. Now let us understand how to download the files. Downloading file is really easy, and even in recent version of Chrome driver, we don't have to do anything actually. But there might be certain cases where if you notice, like when we download files, for some reasons browser will ask like whether you want to keep the file or you want to delete it for some security reason, right? So we are going to handle that alone. Okay, so it's going to be very easy, and at the end of the video I will also give you one more tip as well. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to convert this into a method. I can give like control to m, control 2 together, and then press the m, and here I'm going to say like this is going to be my upload function. Okay, and I'm going to comment it out because I don't want to run it now. We'll focus on how to do the download. Okay, so for that I'm going to use this website like Chrome driver, the driver downloadable link. Okay, so if you click on this Chrome driver Windows file, you can see it's going to get download, right? So that's going to be very simple. I'm going to do the same. So I will copy the URL, and here I will say like driver dot get, and then followed by the particular URL. Okay, so yeah, let me explain this. Now here we have to click on this particular any one is fine. I'm going to take this one. So here it's a within the a anchor tag, a tag, so of course it's a link text, right? So driver dot find element by dot link text, and then we are going to do the click action. So that's it, actually pretty much fine, and we will assume that it's going to take like around 10 seconds to do the download. So we'll just add it dot sleep. Okay, so and then we'll close the browser. Okay, so that's going to be very simple, and of course we have to surround this with the try catch. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to execute this in the local browser first, just to show you, and I'm going to comment this after method as well as this before method. Okay, so that means we are going to execute only this main method, test_ng method. Don't get confused with the name. This is just a name, like main is just a main. When we have like public static void main strings of arguments, then that's going to be your actual main method. This is just a method. Okay, so here we have the driver and we have implicit wait. We are going to that particular site. We'll click on that. It will download the file, and that's it. Okay, so I'm going to run as test_ng test now, and we got some error. Okay, why this paths? Okay, sorry, I forgot to set the system.set property. So I'm going to uncomment and execute this one more time. So it got open, and you can see the download is happened, and nothing issue in this. In recent version of Chrome driver, it's going to work fine. Okay, but sometimes what happens, like here you will see something like keep or discard, that we'll get for security reasons, right? So to avoid that, what we can do is we can use the Chrome options for that. Okay, I'm going to show you that. So here I can say like Chrome options, let it like option equal to new, then followed by Chrome options, and here we have to use the hash map or any kind of map. Okay, so here I'm going to say like hash map, and it's going to be like string, the key, and the second one will be like your object. I believe you have basic idea of map, so I'm not going to cover that. I'll just show you the code. Okay, so here I'll just give like nap, we'll give some name like preferences, something like that, equal to new hash map, and yeah, that's it. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to add the key. So preference dot add put, basically not add, sorry for that. So put, and the string is going to be, already I have copied the value, so this is the one, download.prompt for download, and we are going to set it as false. That means it will not ask like whether you really want to download or not. Okay, now yeah, that's it. We are pretty much done with this. Then what you have to do is whatever the option we are going to set, that should be passed here. Okay, and one more thing is like we have to say like option dot set experimental preferences, and here we have to give our preference. Okay, so prefers, this one is basically your key, and this is your value. Okay, this prefs can be anything, it can be like a b c, that's not a problem, but this is your key, so you have to give it correctly. And this is also key. These are like inbuilt functions. Okay, How do I know this? In the sense, like, we have a website called list of Chromium commands. So for example, if you want to set like dash dash headless, that means it will run without UI, right? So here you can see a lot of things, like if you want to give access to the camera or the mic or the location, you can search here and you can give the keys in the Chrome preferences. Okay, so that's it, very easy one. So I'm going to execute this. It's going to work for sure, nothing changed. This is just like one layer of additional code to make sure that your code will work each and every time. Okay, so here you can select Chrome driver dot, the window zip file, Chrome driver window zip file got downloaded. Okay, and that's it, pretty much cool. In this video, we're going to learn about the actions class in Selenium. So what is actions class? If you see in our Selenium WebDriver, so far we have used like send keys, .click functions, selecting a drop down using the select class, using the functions like visible text, select using index, right? But we didn't have any advanced user interactions like doing the drag and drop or move to element or like context click. So we are going to focus on that today. Okay, so first of all, we learn like what is advanced user interactions and why we have to handle all those stuff. Then followed by, we'll learn few of the methods like move to element, drag and drop, and also drag and drop by the x-axis or the y-axis. And followed by, we'll also learn like few of the methods available in the actions class. So let's get started now. Okay, so let us see few of the examples for advanced user interaction. So if you go to this letcode.in/test, here we can see like drag, there is a particular page. So if you go inside that, here you can see like, here we have particular element and I can move it anywhere within this particular kind of frame. Okay, so this all of course we cannot do with the help of send keys or click action or select class, right? So we have to use the actions class that is available in the Selenium. And followed by another example will be this one. So here we have a source one, and here we have to drop it here like this. So as soon as we do, we can see like we are getting dropped. So this kind of user interactions is known as advanced user interactions, or maybe like we can call this as well. So if you go to this particular lambdatest.com, here you can see like we have platform, resources, developers, right? Actually, I'm just mouse hovering my mouse. I'm doing the hover. I'm not doing any click action. So of course we cannot do like dot click to interact with this particular elements. So we have to make use of the actions class. I hope that makes sense to you why we have to use the actions class and as well as what is advanced user interaction. Now let's get started with the coding part. So as usual, we are going to execute in the Lambda test platform. So here I have my setup, that is nothing but using the desired capabilities and the remote WebDriver. We have given like build name as a AUI and the test name as actions, and I'm going to execute in Windows 11 and the Chrome browser with the 98 version. Of course, you can change these values. You already know about this. This is extremely flexible. We can do as per our requirement. And then followed by, I have this tear down, that is close, just to quit my browser. Okay, so now let's write some test. So first of all, I'm going to bring up my a test. So public void, I'll just name it like move. Okay, and then followed by, of course, I want to get the test from test.ng. Okay, now first of all, we already have the driver initialization and the object is created, so we'll use that. Okay, so driver dot get, and we'll move to the lambdatest.com. Okay, so I'm going to copy the URL and paste over here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mouse hover on this developers. Okay, so first of all, of course, we have to get the element. So I'm going to right click and inspect. And here I can see like it's a button and that has a text called developers. Okay, so I'm going to use the let text path just to copy the X path. Okay, so here you can see we have like button text equal to developers. I'm going to copy and paste over here. So here you can see like we got that exact element. So I'm going to now find the element. So driver dot find element by dot X path and then followed by the value. Okay, now we'll store this as a web element. Let's name this like devs. Okay, now of course I have to use the actions class, right? So to use the actions class, as I said, it's a class. So of course we have to call the constructor and we have to create the object. So here we'll say like actions builder equal to new, then followed by the actions. And here we have to import these actions from the selenium.interaction. So this is the package name, org.openqa.selenium.interactions. And as soon as I do that, here we can see the error, because of course we have to pass the driver in the constructor. So here I will say like driver. Okay, that's it. Very cool. Now if I say like builder dot, here you can see like we have a lot of functions. We'll go one by one in a moment. Before that, we will try to complete the move to element. So here if I say like move to element, which is nothing but the mouse hover action. Okay, so here you can select move to element devs, that is my web element, and then followed by we have to say perform. If we don't say perform, actions class will never work. So perform is like mandatory. Whenever we do some actions, we have to use this perform. Now in few of the website or few of the blogs or even few of the YouTube videos, you might have seen like they will use like build dot perform, which is correct, nothing wrong about it, but we don't have to use this build function explicitly. Why? In the sense like the perform function internally calls the build function. Just to show you, I'm going to get into this actions class, and if you give control plus O, you can see list of the functions, and here I'm going to call the perform function. So here you can select build.perform. So build is internally called within the perform itself. So we don't have to say like build.perform. Okay. Now let's go and get started here. Okay, that's it. Very simple. It's very simple task. What we'll do, as soon as I do mouse hover, I can see some API thing here, right? So I'm going to inspect this one, and this is basically S3 with text called API. So I'm going to take this XPath here, and which is fine, I believe. Yeah. So let's go and do the click action. So if I click on this API, what will happen? It will take me to this particular URL, right? So we are going to do the assert as well. So here I will say like driver dot find element by dot XPath and the value. Okay, and then followed by we will say the click action. Of course we want to click on it. Okay, and then we have to verify the URL. So driver dot get current URL, and that's going to return me a string here, so I can store it like current URL, and then followed by, of course, we are going to do the assertion. Okay, so here I will say like assert from org.𝐿𝐿, and then I can say like assert equals, and here the first one is basically my actual, correct? So if I mouse over on this function, you can see like the first argument is nothing but my actual, and second one is the expected. So here I will pass my actual as current URL. Okay, and the expected is this one. Of course we will just copy and paste over here, that is fine. Okay, so if I mouse over on this, you can see like string actual, string expected. So assert equals is a overloaded functions. We can pass the boolean, we can pass the string, we can pass the character, we can pass array. So a lot of things we can pass over here. Okay, so that's it. Very simple thing. Only thing we have to remember is whenever we want to do like mouse hover action, we have to use the function called move to element that is coming from the actions class. And in the constructor, of course, we have to pass the driver. Okay, so that's it. Very simple. I'm going to execute this now. So right click and then followed by run as test. Okay, hopefully it should work, or else we'll fix it up. So let's go to the Lambda test platform here, and so here you can see like we got the AUI, that is my build name, and within that we have this our test as a actions. Okay, so let's go and let it complete. We'll see the video. Yeah, it's got completed now. So let's go to this particular test, and here we got our video, and here itself we can see like there is no error. Of course it means it have worked, right? But still I want to show you the video, so let's see that. Let's navigate it to the particular website, and mouse over is happened. Then it click on the API and you can verify the URL, right? That's it. Very simple thing. Actions class is really easy. Okay, now let's go back to the second learning. Now we are going to focus on the drag and drop. Okay, so here I'm going to make this like enable equal to false. That means next time it will not execute. Okay, so here I'm going to write one more test. Okay, so here we have a function called drag drop, and of course it's a test. So we're going to do the same thing. So first of all, we'll go navigate to that particular URL. So here I can select driver.get, and then followed by we are going to perform this drag and drop. So I'm going to copy this and paste over here. Okay, now here we want to drag this source to the target element. So of course we need two web elements, right? So I'm going to take the locator for both the element. Let's go. So here we can say like we have a ID called draggable. So I'm going to copy that, and here I will say like driver dot find element, and then followed by dot ID and the value. Okay, so this is going to be my source element. So I will just name it like source, and then followed by we have the target, right? So if I go and inspect this one, you can see like we have a ID called droppable. So I'm going to copy that, and here it's going to be same only. So driver dot find element by dot ID the value, and we are going to store that as a web element. So let's name it like target element. That's it, right? Now what we have to do, of course you have guessed, we have to create the builder, that is actions class object, right? So we are going to copy and paste over here. Then followed by I'm going to say builder dot drag and drop. So here you can say like we have two functions. First one is drag and drop, and second one is drag and drop by. Please remember, this is not an overloaded functions, in the sense like the function name will be exactly same, but the parameter is going to different. But in this case, we have two method names with the different parameters. Okay, so I'm going to use the drag and drop now. Okay, so this is my source element and this is my target element, and of course we have to call the function perform or else it will not work. Okay, so that's it, we are pretty much done. And just to show you the output, I'm going to give a thread.slip so that we can make sure that the changes happen. Okay, so I will add like 5000, that is 5 seconds basically, right? Okay, now let's run this one. Okay, so I'm going to right click and run as test-ng test. So let's go to the Lambda test platform now. And we don't have to really refresh the page. Whenever there is an execution, the page will automatically fetch those details, and it will do the stuff for us, which is really handy. Okay, so here you can select we got another actions. So this is my test case name. Of course you can change as per your requirement. Just for the demo I have kept as it is. So if I go and play this video now, so here you can see like the source element has been dropped within the target element. Okay, and the drop text is also changed. If you want to make sure, you can do the assertion as well. Okay, so that's it. It's pretty easy one. Okay, now we'll go with another example. Okay, so here we have source element and target element, which is fine. We can just call the drag and drop. But if you go to the previous page, that is drag, here you can select we have only the source element, but we don't have any target. So how to do it? Okay, so it's like just an assumption. We are going to move this element like maybe one or like from here to here. So we are going to move based on the x-axis and the y-axis. Okay, so how to do it? It's going to be very simple. Let me show you. Okay, next thing we are going to learn about the draggable. In my website the draggable is not working. I think that's the website UI issue. So I will take the example from this 𝐀𝐿 okay, so here you can we can grab this URL and then followed by, so I'll say like driver dot get and the URL. Okay, and here you can say like we have only the source element, we don't have any target. We are just going to move it like some point. Okay, so let's go and inspect, and as soon as I do right click, I can see like here we have like view page source, view frame source, and reload frame. That means of course this element is within the frame. Okay, so I'm going to right click and inspect, and if I search for like /iframe, you can see like we have 1 of 1. That means of course we have only one frame, and if there is a frame, of course we have to switch to the frame first, right? So here I'm going to select driver dot switch to dot frame. Since we have only one frame, I can give the 0, so that should work fine. Okay, Now we are going to perform the drag and drop. Okay, so let's see how to do it. It's going to be very similar to the previous one, like drag and drop, but of course we have to pass the x-axis on the y-axis. So we are going to take a look on that. So first of all, we'll use our builder. So I'm going to copy this line here and paste over here. Then followed by, I will say like builder dot drag and drop by, and we have to first give the source element. Okay, so this is going to be my source. I'm going to inspect this one, and here we can select we have a ID called draggable. So I'm going to copy that, and here we'll select driver dot find element by dot ID and the value. Let's store this as a web element. I'm going to name it like source element, and this is going to be my first parameter here. Now just to show you, I'm going to make it like 50 and this may be like 20, and of course at the end we have to call the perform function. Okay, now let's go and right click and run this. Here also I have thread.sleep just to show you the output that is not required at all. Okay, so let's go to the lambda test platform, and if I go back to the builds, here we can say like we got the another test which is running now. Let's go inside that one, and it executed completed, and let's play this video. So here you can see like it moved, right? So from source to it just moved to a particular location. Okay, now we have moved based on the values like 50 and 20. Of course we don't have any target, so we are just trying to move it around within the frame itself. But if you have to do this dynamically, like based on some element location, we can do that. It's very simple. Okay, so we'll take the source element first, and in Selenium we have a function called get location that is going to return the point. Okay, so it's going to return me the point. Now here I can say like location dot get x, so it will give me the x-axis, the x coordination of that particular element. So I can store it like int x. Similarly, I can get the y-axis, so get location, get y, and I'm going to store that within the int y. Now here what can I do is, so based on the position of that particular box, that source element, I'm going to move from source element to maybe some point. So here I can say like x plus maybe like 20 or 30, something like that. Okay, and similarly here also like y plus. So from the box value, the coordination, we are adding some coordination, so we can expect that will move based on some location. So let's go and run this now one more time. And here we got the another test, so let's go inside that one, and already it completed. Okay, so let's go and play this video now. So here also you can select the box has moved from one point to another. So if you want to move far away, of course you can increase the x and y value, like the x plus some value and y plus some value. Okay, so that's it. Actions class is very simple. Okay, so other than action like drag and drop, move to element, we have a lot of useful feature as well, but of course I cannot show demo for each and every function, so I'm just going to give you the walkthrough. Okay, so if I go to this actions class and if I give like control O, here you can see like we will get all the methods. Let's see the very useful methods. Okay, so here you can see like we have actions class, the constructor, and if you want to do like key down, key up, left key, right key, of course you can do with the key down and key up. Here also we have send keys, which is going to be very similar to the send keys in WebDriver, that is like element.send keys. Here also it's going to be very same. And then followed by we have click and hold. In some application like older application, you have to click and hold, then only we'll get something, right? For example, let me show you this particular example here. So here you can select we have button hold. If I do click action, nothing will happen, but if I just click and hold, you can see like something is going to change now. Come on, change. Yeah, so when I do click and hold, you can see like button has been long pressed. So to perform all these actions, we have to use the actions class. Okay, so that is what the click and hold function is used to. And then followed by we have like release. Release is basically like whenever we do key press and we have to release it, right? So for example, you are clicking on the shift key and then you have to release the shift key, right? So we can use this like release function. And then followed by we can use the click, which is similar to WebDriver click. And these are private methods, so of course we cannot use this. Only green color is public. And then followed by double click, you know it, right? So double click, move to element we saw. And then by move by offset, if you want to move element based on the coordination, you can do that. And the context click is very useful. Context click is nothing but the right click. So in our mouse we do the right click, right? So for that we use this context click. And drag and drop, pause is there, tick is there. Tick is also similar to click action. And build and perform. Okay, so that's all about the actions class. Here few things we have to remember. Actions class mostly does not give us any exception in the sense like we are trying to perform the drag and drop, but if the drag and drop is not working, we won't get that exception. Okay, but of course there are two exceptions from the actions class. One is like out of bound. I don't remember the exact exception name, but we have a certain limits. Like if you are going to give the x and y coordination very long value, then we'll get that error. Okay, so if I remember, probably I will leave the exception name in the YouTube comments. You can check it out later. Okay, so that's it from my side. I hope you have learned this actions class in very well mannered. And if you want to practice, you can use the Lambda test platform, the website, learning playground website, or else also you can use the letcode.in. Okay, so that's it from my side. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one very soon. If you have any queries, please feel free to ask in the comment. I'll be happy to reply back. Thanks for watching. See you. Tata, bye bye.